All right. Let's see if this is working correctly. Yeah, I know. I forgot to change the title on Kick. Shorts. Let me just test this. All right. Here we are. Okay, we're actually live now. Let me just turn up the volume in my ears. Done. We need to be able to Pepe post after all. Yeah, that's right. You were sending me something. Alrighty. Let me see here. I have open 2 instances of OBS. So I'm going to have to do a lot more stuff over here on the side here. Let's see here. Put that on the back. Wow, holy shit, guys. Isn't this cool? We're streaming on YouTube Shorts. Wow. Let me get rid of that. Okay, so we're just going to be testing some stuff out today. We're going to be seeing if the... Oh shit, is the thing making me skip? It is. Okay, so we're going to ditch this for now. And just have that down there as chat. Uh-oh, is internet gonna kill right here? This is... This is not working as intended. Fuck. Okay, we're just gonna test it out, okay? And we'll do this, test, see which one is which. Gotcha. Okay, everything seems to be in working order. All right, here we are. Will we cover the Finkelstein meltdown coat memes? I don't know if we will, because it is a 5-hour long debate, and I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet. I don't know when I'm going to have a chance to listen to it. Let's see. Is it just going to be like giga slow forever? Okay, cool. It's not. Well, let's see, folks. What are we going to go over today? One second. I'm just like checking out the feed of the short stream. I think we're good. But no, we're probably not going to cover the Finkelstein or, the Destiny versus the academic stuff, because it's just like way too long, way too involved. at least until I get to actually watch it myself. And at that point, then we'll actually watch it. All the lefties just cooming at Norman, insulting Destiny because he had no counter argument. That's why that's the only thing that they share. I haven't even seen any of the clips except for a compilation of Norm calling Destiny a bunch of different names, right? Like calling him what, tortellini and shit like that. If you got good clips, if you want to send me a clips that they're sending, then we can do that. But in the meantime, we'll look at like the content suggestions and shit like that. Okay, hold on. Let me do this real quick. Save image. There we go. Go like this, like that. Like that, and like that. Make her a little bit bigger. Right there. Oh, let's see how that looks. Just for reference. Wait, hold on. Does it show me live in my own recommendeds? Perhaps not. Here, let me see here. Just show you guys who are watching on the superior 1920 by 1080 instead of the 1080 1920. What I'm testing today. If you go to the YouTube and you go to the live stream, I actually have 2 live streams open right now. We have very similar titles, but one of these is for shorts. And if you click on that, and then you mute it so we don't have a whole bunch of shit going on, look at that. I have a YouTube short stream going on. Isn't that cool? Wowza. Yeah, post everything that you want to go over today in the content suggestions, and we'll go over that. We're going to be mostly memeing and creaming today. Mostly memeing and creaming. Not completely, but just a little bit of memeing and creaming. Groip Gang AF. These guys probably have a lot of really important shit to talk about, huh?
I don't think you understand politics. Believe me, I'm a lot more literate than you, Mr. Borelli.
I'm gonna believe the guy that wrote the stuff.
You read what Wikipedia said.
That's great.
I don't spend my nights on Wikipedia. I read books. I admit that as a signal.
Waste of time.
Yeah, I know books are a waste of time. I'm going to ask you again.
Yes.
Please stop displaying your imbecility.
Okay, I'm sorry if you think the
imbecility is not a word. Imbecility? The act of being an imbecile? I guess it is a word. It just feels like the most roundabout way of calling someone that. Family ties, family ties. How's it going, dude? All right, let's see here. I guess it's a word.
Yes.
Please stop displaying your imbecility.
Okay, I'm sorry if you think the Declaration of the Judge is imbecile.
Don't put on public display that you're a moron. At least have the self-possession to shut up.
The 47 partition
I don't think you understand politics.
Were any of these owns? Okay, I got it. So basically this is my plan today. We're testing out streaming to YouTube Shorts. We had a minor mishap a couple of minutes ago where the YouTube Shorts stream died. But if you're watching on YouTube Shorts, you can always go to the original, I say the original, the normal live stream, for lack of a better word, okay? We have the regular live stream, and then we have you know, the shorts one, which we're testing out today. Let me see here. We're going to be catching up on news because I've been on vacation looking for a house. I say a house. No fucking shot I can afford a house. But an apartment for when I move. Oh, look at that. And the thing is doing the freezing thing on the YouTube short. So I got to get rid of that. A little less professional looking, but we ball. We'll be catching up on news. I know that Netanyahu responded to Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer said that Netanyahu's government needs to go away. Hey, look, that's me. I'm in the thumbnail of a Destiny video from 2 years ago. Let's see here. What else are we going to? Oh shit, you're fucking throwing a million links at me, my bro. Hey, thanks for the sub, my man.
Essentially, yes. As in, I'm just saying that essentially, as in terms of how international law defines it, not how Amnesty International defines it, but Amnesty International describes times of human shielding, but they don't actually apply the correct international legal standard.
Know what's the correct
I know absolutely.
Law. You
no,
haven't
but Norm, I absolutely.
You
do,
haven't
Norm.
the clue.
I absolutely.
I
do.
think,
but I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Believe it or not.
Jesus Christ. Is it even worth watching? If it's just like this the entire time, if he's just like sitting there like talking over Destiny? Let me see here. Let's go through all the links. If you guys want to dump links. Oh yeah. Also, if you're watching on YouTube or YouTube Shorts, then I think that there is a Discord link on the About page or whatever the fuck on YouTube. I'm a streamer and I've been a streamer for a long time, but I'm a shitty streamer. All right. I don't know where you can find all my links, but it's somewhere on my YouTube account. Okay. Somewhere on my YouTube page. You can find the link to the Discord. We have a spot in the Discord if you want to post stuff for me to go over on stream. Look at this. Oh my gosh. What's that? It's a Discord server. And if you see right here, that's the announcements. And then you just scroll on up to the content suggestions. And here we are. Whammo blammo. If you want to post links for me to go over on stream, either go to the Discord or go watch on Kick. I think that those are the two best bets that you have. What is genocide? We'll open this up at another tab, but let me... Nope. Pause. Watch the rest of these clips real quick. So first this one.
When they killed the 4 kids even though they were diminutive size.
You've lied about this particular instance in the past. Those kids weren't just on the beach, as is often stated in articles. Those kids were literally coming out of a previously identified Hamas compound that they had operated from.
With all due respect, you're such a fantastic moron. It's terrifying. That wharf was filled with journalists. There were tens, scores of journalists. That was an old...
How much is a score? What kind of old time are we gonna start like measuring stuff in furlongs? How much is a score? 20. Tens of scores. So at least 200?
You have no idea what you're talking about. It's just so embarrassing.
Oh, is it this one that we were just watching?
Old fisherman. That wharf was filled with journalists. There were tens, scores of journalists. That was an old fisherman's shack. What are you talking about? It's so painful. It's so painful to listen to this idiocy. When they killed the 4 kids.
Gotcha. And we don't even get to hear Destiny's response. Gotcha. Bro, the loading shit while streaming into this many places is really making me nervous. Are we about to have a stream drop? Play. Reload.
No, don't change the subject.
How close has 242 gotten to the Palestinian peace?
You have no idea what you're talking about. It's just so embarrassing. At least have some humility. Between us, we've read maybe 10,000 books on the topic, and you've read 2 Wikipedia entries, and you start talking about chapter 6. Do you know what chapter 7 is? Mr.
Is that the test of knowledge? Is that the test of knowledge right there? If you've read a book, you have to know what chapter 6 and 7 are supposed to have on them? Okay. I wouldn't last. I wouldn't last in it. I wouldn't last in this debate. Okay, so what is genocide? What else do we have in the content suggestions that I have missed? Tim Pool, Republicans are terrified of the left and they are always playing defense. We'll try. Oh, see the last link? I thought that we already watched all of them.
Yeah, no, they saw
You
it.
don't see the size.
Let's leave aside.
Oh, I know what he's quoting here, but you've lied about this particular instance in the past. Those kids weren't just on the beaches, as often stated in articles. Those kids were literally coming out of a previous...
Oh, hold on. One second. I want to try something real quick. Go underneath my desk and fix something. Okay. Let's see if it reconnects me to not Wi-Fi. Jesus.
Previously identified Hamas compound that they had operated from. They literally did. You can Google it. You can Google it.
Mr. Borelli.
With all due respect, you're such a fantastic moron. It's terrifying. That wharf was filled with journalists. There were tens, scores of journalists. That was an old fisherman's shack. What are you talking about? It's so painful.
Hamas naval.
It's so painful to listen to this idiocy.
And to be clear, on the other side, you're implying that a strike was okayed on the Israeli side, where they said, we're just going to kill 4 Palestinian children today for no reason.
Do you believe that?
Do you believe that? Do you believe that? Right, as you said, right, there was a hotel of journalists. Do you think that they
were out to kill 4 children?
Here we go.
We'll never answer that
I
question.
will answer the question.
Pilots were out to
I will
kill
even
4
answer
children.
And it was approved because that was a strike. That was a drone strike. So it was approved all the way up the chain that we're going to kill children today. We're going to kill Palestinian children today.
You want me to answer, or do you want your motor mouth to go? Okay, answer. In 2018, there was the Great March of Return in Gaza.
So he's not going to answer. Okay, got it. Did he answer a single fucking question the entire time? Or did he do the thing like, okay, in order for me to answer this question, we have to go back 15 years. We have to go back 30 years. We have to go back 500 years in order to fully understand the context here. Is that what he did the entire fucking time? Jesus Christ, that's embarrassing. What is this? I guess this is just clips from the Destiny debate, dude.
Are terrified to tell the American people, we don't want this, and here's why.
They don't go on the offense ever. Right? The argument, and I don't...
Whoa, is that Rob Noor on Tim Pool? What the fuck? Why is my video so strange? What do you mean, why is my video so strange? It looks like a cell phone. Oh my God. I just realized why it is. Hold on. Okay, the kick stream is going to end and then it's going to pick back up. One sec. Let's see if that works. And see if it doesn't completely kill. Okay, fix. Good. Yeah. Yeah. Again, like I have instance number 1 of OBS, and then I got instance number 2 of OBS open right now to try out this YouTube Shorts streaming stuff. And it looks like I can stream to YouTube twice and then to Kick as well. And it seems to be working, so. All right.
Republicans are terrified to tell the American people, we don't want this, and here's why.
They don't go on the offense ever.
Right.
Right. The argument, and again, I'm nobody. I'm not paid.
This is something where it is so fucking backwards, but maybe, and this could be the issue. Maybe someone watching their party or the party that they support not go hard enough on the opposition makes you feel like they're never going on offense. But like, the Republicans are always on the offense. The Republicans never play defense. They just ignore, they ignore attacks against them, right? Whereas like Democrats are always on the defense 100% of the time. Instead of putting out their own narrative, it feels like the Democrats are always, having to react to what the Republican narrative is at the time, right? Instead of just like putting out their narrative on the spot, which is the absolute most ass backwards, shitty way to, try and control the narrative.
Need to be a political consultant or anything like this. Give me 5 minutes of helping Republicans craft the message. It's this simple. The official Democrat position is her body, her choice. No law should be there to determine it. That means they believe in 9-month abortions. In my state of Pennsylvania, Dr. Oz, who I was not a fan of.
So oh man. Okay, you know what? Actually, I was about to like go in on Rob. He's talking about crafting a narrative instead of arguing against people's points, because I think that if you were to talk to Rob and say, do you think that most people in the United States, most Democrats in the United States support 9-month abortions? He's going to say no, because every piece of data supports that, right? Like every piece of data shows that most people are not cool with abortions past like 4 or 5 months. But if you could tell everybody that they want to like dismember fucking fetuses left and right, then yeah, people are going to get outraged and go out and vote.
Loses to human vegetable John Fetterman. And one of the arguments that Oz said at some point, he was like, I think with abortion, because he's a doctor and he's trying to be like a little mealy mouth about it. He goes, I think it should be between a woman, her doctor, and like local officials. In other words, state officials that would decide what the abortion law should be in Pennsylvania. And the mainstream media went nuts. How dare you say some official has a right? But then when you press them, when you press the Democrats, you're like, so then you're saying 9-month abortion. If a woman just chooses as it's crowning, yeah, for no reason, I've decided to abort. That's what you're for, right? And
their argument is that doesn't happen though. And my response is, okay, it's not happening. Let's make it illegal.
And it is happening.
Absolutely.
It certainly is. And,
I don't want to get like super deep into looking up every fucking stat that they bring up. It's fucking Tim Pool. I can't stand it. Every time you link me something that is Tim Pool, it just makes me want to fucking kill myself in a video game, because I'm not allowed to say that, even jokingly.
They lit New York up pink when they passed that law. And if you look into it, they only
are very different.
I don't know if I can watch it, because it's just like a circle jerk of people lying and believing the lies. I just don't know if I can do it. Okay. Let's see here. Let's go to the news. Let's see what we missed. Let's see what this is all about.
Following growing questions about the federal judge overseeing one of the disgraced, twice impeached, 4 times indicted ex-president's many legal cases. And of course, we are talking about the classified documents case involving allegations the former president hoarded highly classified documents in bathrooms and the ballroom down at Mar-a-Lago. And federal judge Aileen Cannon, the Trump-appointed lawyer, who came to this case with only 3 years on the bench and with very little experience in running criminal trials. Cannon, whose rulings in the case so far have repeatedly drawn scrutiny and rebukes and reversals by higher courts. And now Judge Cannon is under fire once again for what the Washington Post diplomatically calls a, quote, unusual order regarding jury instructions. Quote, even though Cannon has not yet ruled on when the trial will be held or a host of other issues, she is skipping ahead to the very end to jury instructions, asking prosecutors and defense attorneys to consider 2 different hypothetical situations, writing in part, quote, in the first scenario, the jury would be allowed to review a former president's possession of a
Man, I feel like at this point, it really feels like and I don't know how possible this is, but the Eileen Cannon lady has shown such unbelievable deference to Trump. Like, I'm all for supposing innocence, until proven guilty. Yeah. But like, you're giving so much deference to the defense and then giving so many hurdles for the prosecution. How the fuck is this not? How is this not a conflict of interest? Like, she was appointed by Donald Trump, and she seems to be giving favorable treatment to Trump compared to any other, judge on these cases, which those judges have been like pretty even-handed. Like, granted, they're not giving Trump every single fucking thing that he wants. They're not sucking Trump off, but they're also not sucking off the prosecution. In this court case, the one in Florida with the documents, she's like playing too much of her hand. And if I was a conservative and I really didn't want Trump to be to be convicted or put under trial or what the fuck ever, and I was that judge, I would probably be a little less overt with it, just a smidge less overt with it. Okay. 8-month abortion lie. This is why you can never trust people like Tim Pool on abortion issues. Tim reports that Ohio just voted to allow abortion up until birth. Only protects abortion until fetal viability.
This is let me see if I have the story from. Here you go. Ohio votes to enshrine abortion up until birth. Dude. Wow. This is I just it's shocking.
This is what happens. American News. What is the name of the website? Is it the Post Millennial? Oh, okay. That's why. This is what happens when you are so poisoned against like mainstream media that you're going to go to only media that will reinforce your preconceived biases. And on top of that, you're a public figure. You're a public figure, and people can fact check you in real time.
And it makes me want to laugh a whole lot. I see these people scream
like before they even show anything, so I don't have to, click on the same one they do. Ohio abortion constitution. The amendment declared an individual's right to make and carry out one's own reproductive decisions and passed with a strong 57% majority. Let me see. What is the information on this? Every time I click on a new link, I'm checking over on the OBS to make sure that the streams don't go down. That's all I'm worried about right now with this testing. How's it going, Shadowrun? Let me see here. It's difficult, blah, 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 blah. I just want to see how hard it is to find the information that he was looking of. I think the editor of Post Millennial works for Tim. Well, I guess that makes sense. Blah, blah. On hold since October 2022. And a legal analysis of issue 1. We'll let that load and go back to Google. I just want to see how hard it is. Oh, look at that. You don't even have to click on it. As of Thursday, abortion is legal up to 22 weeks. Which, I mean, if we bust out a calculator, right? We go to the Google calculator. Let's see here. So 1 month is, let's say, 4 weeks. All right. So 9 times 4 equals 36 weeks. Wait, hold on. It says that abortion is legal up to 22 weeks, which means that minus 22, 14, that's at least 3 months and some change before 9 months. That's crazy how quick you're able to look up. Oh, abortion may be prohibited after fetal viability. Math. It's crazy how math can debunk Republican talking points. Fuck.
Screaming and cheering for the right to abort a baby at 9 months, which basically just means kill a baby, right? And I am a traditional pro-choice person. This is not pro-choice, okay? The traditional pro-choice position is like, look, man, it's really difficult to answer the questions of constitutional rights pertaining to two bodies sharing one, organ system. It's really difficult. But if the baby can survive on its own, there's no question. Don't kill it. Now they're like, I don't know, kill it anyway. That's literally.
Abortion may be prohibited after fetal viability. In Ohio, as of Thursday, abortion is legal up to 22 weeks. Which allows the right to abortion up to fetal viability. Explicitly prohibits the kind of pre-viability restriction on abortion access. Wait, what does that mean? Oh, that's not what I wanted. One second. I want to see what they... Oh, Ohio's new abortion amendment explicitly prohibits the kind of pre-viability restrictions on abortion access contained in the state's current 6-week ban. But the idea put forth by lawmakers would deprive voters of any judicial means of vindicating their new abortion rights. What about OBS? Sorry. They voted for their amendment and Republicans were ass mad. Yeah.
Literally the Democrat position. Here's the issue. They want the right to terminate their offspring so badly that they'll do it up to birth.
1 second. Tron, I tried recording before the stream actually went live and it just crashed OBS. So until I find another way to do this, maybe using 2 computers, which I might be able to do, but I don't know if I will, I'm not going to be able to record. Okay. Anyways, back to what we were watching.
Record and make a factual finding, whether it is personal or presidential, using the definition set forth in the Presidential Records Act. The second scenario is one in which a president has sole authority to categorize records as personal or presidential. And as the Washington Post points out, that second hypothetical would appear to be one in which Trump seemingly could not be convicted under almost any set of facts of improperly possessing classified documents. Now, for the non-lawyers in our audience, that is the legal version of tails you lose, heads I win. Or as the Daily Beast put it, Judge Cannon, quote, has forced
Let me
prosecutors to
let me see it again.
for what the Washington Post diplomatically calls a, quote, unusual order regarding jury instructions. Quote, even though Cannon has not yet ruled on when the trial will be held or a host of other issues, she is skipping ahead to the very end to jury instructions, asking prosecutors and defense attorneys to consider two different hypothetical situations, writing in part, quote, in the first scenario, the jury would be allowed to review a former president's possession of a record and make a factual finding whether it is personal or presidential using the definition set forth in the Presidential Records Act. The second scenario is one in which a president has sole authority to categorize records as personal or presidential. And as the Washington Post points out, that second hypothetical would appear to be one in which Trump seemingly could not be convicted under almost any set of facts of improperly possessing classified documents. Now, for the non-lawyers in our audience, that is the legal version of tails you lose, heads I win. Or is the
I mean, like, imagine in that second scenario, a president has the sole authority to classify whether something is personal or presidential. And would we want to live in a world where a president said, okay, these documents right here show every single nuclear site that we have, nuclear test site or nuclear launch site that we have. These are all of the details on how we construct our nuclear weapons. This is all personal information. I don't have to keep it classified, and I'm going to give it to everybody. And he does that on his way out of the White House after losing an election. Would we want that to be the standard by which we let the president do stuff? The YouTube stream doesn't have my logo and stuff. Oh, the short one? Yeah, the thing around the camera, yeah, it was causing my stream to stutter, so I had to minimize it.
Daily Beast put it, Judge Cannon, quote, has forced prosecutors to make a stark choice, allow jurors to see a huge trove of national secrets or let him go. But as she has done repeatedly, Cannon used these otherwise innocuous legal steps as yet another way to swing the case wildly in favor of the man who appointed her while he was president. Quote, Special Counsel Jack Smith must now choose whether to allow jurors to pursue or peruse the many classified records found at the former president's South Florida mansion or give jurors instructions that would effectively order them to acquit him. It is a move so off the wall, it puts Judge Cannon squarely on Earth 2, as Nicole might say. But could it also get Judge Cannon actually removed from the case altogether? Ever since Judge Cannon's bizarre new order came down, calls for her removal have been growing by the hour. We're also
again, I am 100% okay with I'm 100% okay with judges ruling sometimes in favor of Trump on motion, sometimes in favor of the prosecution. All of that is 100% totally fine, and we've seen that in the January 6th election case. We've seen that in the in one of the New York cases. We've seen that in the Georgia case. We've seen it in cases where there are judges that are less biased. But in the Florida case, it is so unbelievably one-sided. Now, you could say that, well, Sondsol, the New York case that accused Trump of business fraud, they basically just denied Trump everything, and it was just a show trial. That's because his lawyers were really fucking shitty. They were the reasons that there wasn't. They were the reason, his lawyers were the reason there was no jury. They were the reason why that judge fucking hated Trump and the lawyers. They did crazy, stupid stunts in court. Judges don't like that sort of shit. So yeah, the New York case, Trump fucked himself by having a whole bunch of like really shitty lawyers that didn't know what they were fucking doing, and they were doing political stunts and not understanding how procedure worked and not putting in the correct motions so that there would be a jury, and it was just like automatically, hey, well, we found that you're guilty, right? All the evidence points that you're guilty. Your lawyers did not ask for a jury or whatever the fucking case it was. However the process went. And it's like, how are we going to look at this case where there isn't one side, the prosecution or the defense, who are going unbelievably fucking crazy in the courtroom, making the judge hate them, right? Meaning that the judge is going to side more with the other side. That's one scenario. But in this scenario, both the prosecution and the defense are putting forward motions. It seems like, from what I remember, there are fewer like political stunts in this case. However, the judge is just like trying to get Trump off all the time. I like this stream. I appreciate that. Yes, Tron, there are 2 chats because we have the full screen stream, we have the YouTube short stream, and then we have the Kick stream. So there are actually 3 chats.
Also following some late-breaking legal news in another case, this one, the question of presidential immunity, now before the Supreme Court. Within the last hour, Trump's lawyers filed their brief arguing that, quote, no former or current president faced criminal charges.
And I hate this fucking line too, because, yeah, no former or current president has faced criminal charges for his official acts. There was only one instance where that almost happened. Nixon. Why didn't he get criminal charges? Why didn't he face criminal charges? Why wasn't he in court? Because before any of that happened, he was given a presidential pardon. He got pardoned, so in a way he accepted that he could be charged? Yeah, exactly. So it's not, it's insane to me. People making the argument that presidents are immune from criminal prosecution, to the point where there are people defending what the defense in the January 6th case said on their appeal. They said, or that one of the judges on the tribunal, or whatever the fuck we call it, right, on the panel of judges, asked, well, let's say that there is an outgoing president and he is going to lose the election. So he orders SEAL Team 6 to assassinate all of his political rivals before the election happens. And every time someone steps up and is the next in line, he assassinates them. As long as he is not, convicted in the Senate, he can't face criminal prosecution for that. He's totally immune to just assassinate anyone he wants. And the motherfucker, the lawyer, is like, well, he could face prosecution in the Senate. No, bitch, you're just agreeing with what she said, that the president has the full ability to assassinate all of his political rivals because he's the president. He can do whatever he wants. Nobody believes that no former or current president should be able to be charged for crimes outside of the presidency. Nobody believes that, unless they're trying to defend Trump. It's actual fucking lunacy. Yes, these are 2 different chats, Tron.
Charges for his official acts. And quote, a denial of criminal immunity would incapacitate every future president with de facto blackmail and extortion while in office.
Oh, you have the clip of that attorney. Oh, how convenient.
Could a president order SEAL Team 6 to assassinate a political rival? That's an official act in order to SEAL Team 6?
He would have to be and would speedily be, impeached and convicted before the criminal prosecution.
What if you weren't? There would be no criminal prosecution, no criminal liability for that?
Chief Justice's opinion in Marbury against Madison and our constitutional tradition and the plain language of the impeachment judgment clause all clearly presuppose that what the founders were concerned about was not.
I asked you a yes or no question. Could a president who ordered SEAL Team 6 to assassinate a political rival who was not impeached, would he be subject to criminal prosecution?
If he were impeached and convicted first. And
so your answer is no.
My answer is qualified yes. There's a political process that would have to occur under the structure of our Constitution.
My answer is qualified yes, assuming that he doesn't have, both the House and the Senate under his control, right? If Donald Trump had, the Democrats with a majority in the Senate and in the House, then yeah, he could be criminally prosecuted for assassinating someone. But if Trump had a Republican House, it would never get impeached in the first place. And if he had the Senate, then they would never vote to convict him. So Trump would be immune from assassinating his political rivals with SEAL Team 6.
And condemn him to years of post-office trauma at the hands of political opponents. And with all that, that is where we start today with national investigative reporter for The Washington Post, Kara Lenig, plus former top official at the Department of Justice and MSNBC legal analyst Andrew Weissman. And with me here on the set,
Yeah, it's also impeachment is impossible if they're all dead. If he just went down the list of people with the line of secession, right, and he just assassinated everyone, then yeah, I guess it's impossible for him to get impeached.
NBC host and legal analyst Katie Fang. It's great to have all three of you with us. Andrew, I'll start with you. You've had a moment to review this filing that was just sent to the Supreme Court on the question of presidential immunity by Team Trump. What stands out to you?
So I think the quote that you have, which is clearly, Donald Trump projection about if we don't have presidential immunity, we're going to have this sort of tit for tat going on where future former presidents will be subject to blackmail and extortion. One quick response to that is we've been doing pretty well so far. There hasn't been absolute presidential immunity so far, and all has been well. The reason we're in the situation we're in is because of Donald Trump's actions, where he has been charged with criminality before, during, and after his presidency. But I would like to note for folks a statement on page 5 of the brief that I thought was pretty interesting. I'm going to quote it to you. It says that Donald Trump took the actions he did in connection with the January 6th criminal case, that the reason he took the actions he did with respect to Georgia, with respect to the Department of Justice, all of the allegations about interfering with the election, he says it's based on, this is the quote, based on voluminous information available to President Trump in his official capacity that the election was tainted by extensive fraud and irregularities, unquote. So the problem with that is, so far, no one has seen that evidence. We have tons of information.
Well, there's lots of evidence the other direction where everyone's saying hey, Don, listen, hey, buddy, you lost this one. Hey, Donnie boy, you lost this one. And it's time to let it rest. And those people got fucking fired. They got fired. The only people that did tell him this were people that either remained or that he hired to, basically be his yes men.
From the January 6th committee, from witnesses, including Donald Trump's own appointed officials, that evidence does not exist. We have Donald Trump saying that he has irrefutable evidence. Remember, he was going to give a press conference where he was going to unveil that. He never gave that press conference. And now he is making an assertion to the Supreme Court of the United States that he took these actions based on voluminous.
You only have 4 people in here. Astute observation, ex-Burton gamer. This is, technically we have 3, 5, 9 people watching across all the streams. Okay.
Information available to him. Nobody has seen that. And that's the kind of statement that you would hope that the justices in the Supreme Court would jump on to say, what is it? Because that kind of language is something that, at least heretofore, you really don't get away with in the Supreme Court.
So to that point, Katie, the idea that somehow Donald Trump has information that his Attorney General, Bill Barr, at the time said this election was not stolen, it was not rigged, there was no evidence of fraud, this had gone to multiple court proceedings, that somehow he's going to now magically whip up something to present to the Supreme Court that, hey, he was just doing this because it was his official role to make sure the elections were not stolen and they had integrity. It seems a bit of a reach.
Maybe Peter Navarro took that amazing evidence with him when he checked
Mike
himself
Lindell is still sitting on
into the federal correctional institution in Miami today. It's to Andrew's point. He very, like, I'm always such a fan of Andrew. He's so elegant. But what he was saying is this, right? Where is this evidence? Because not only has it been tested in other forums, judicial forums, and other lawsuits where nothing came of it, but this is where is this evidence? You're not supposed to wait until the last minute to say, look, I have all of this evidence and I'm going to present it to you now. I'm troubled by the fact that lawyers on behalf of
it's kind of like the evidence that they said that they had of the election being stolen. Oh yeah, we totally. What was the exact line in the Jan 6 indictment where Giuliani told people that he had evidence, so they went forward and did what they told him to? They're like, okay, well, if he has evidence, then we'll go ahead and we'll go ahead and not certify this yet, right? And then they're like waiting for the evidence. The day to certify the election in, I think it was Arizona, comes, and they're like, hey, we're supposed to vote to certify this election in like fucking 30 minutes. Where is that evidence? And Giuliani responds, and he's like, listen, we're working on getting that evidence, and as soon as we have collected all of it, we'll give it to you. But you should just go ahead and not certify the election in the meantime. Meaning they didn't have the evidence when they said they had the evidence. They were still trying to find evidence of it, and they were trying to get people to do shit, for them with no basis of fact.
Donald Trump, and I go back to this, that they're willing to put their bar numbers, their names on briefs where they're making representations like that. That's another very concerning thing. But in the absence of this evidence, Eamon, what is the court left to do? You and I both know that I don't care how many justices have been appointed by Donald Trump on the Supreme Court. They're never going to say that absolute criminal immunity exists for a president. Why? Because it opens a can of worms that they would never be able to shut. That Pandora's box would wreak such havoc that we wouldn't have any type of semblance of democracy or a constitutional republic left. The thing that concerns me is this rubric, this new kind of fact analysis that they want to do on a case-by-case basis, on an act-by-act basis that they set forth beginning on page 8 of this brief. They want the trial court to get this case back. They want Chuckin to get this case all the way back and to do a case-by-case, act-by-act analysis of whether or not what Trump did fell within the outer perimeter of his office. At the same time, having Chuckin laboring under this misbelief that because he's president, his broad swath of presidential power allows him to do everything. Because they have to argue this in the alternative. That's what we call as lawyers. This is my position A. This is my plan W. You can't even say it's a plan B because it's so far-fetched. But if you're not going to find absolute immunity, Judge Chuckin, you need to go and you need to do it on an act-by-act basis. Stop and think about how long this is going to take. We complain about...
Which one was Judge Chutkin? Oh, is this the Jan 6th? Okay.
Delay. Think about how long this is going to take, and then think about how inconsistent the results could be. You could be a judge, I could come and try to argue something, and then another judge could hear something else. And so it's just going to be chaos, but that's exactly what Trump wants, right? Total chaos agent that he is. He even wants to interfere and put that into our judicial system.
Yeah, I was going to say he wins just by delaying this more and more and having more of these questions that you're talking about. Andrew, let's go back to the other top story that we've been discussing, and this dealing with Judge Cannon and the documents case. Explain what these jury instructions mean, and if I'm understanding this correctly, she's actually putting Jack Smith in an untenable position here. Let jurors view classified documents, or basically give them instructions that would essentially acquit Trump because he would be able to claim all of these documents were either personal or he has the purview to decide what they are.
Well, the reason this is so legally wrong is that the two options that she asked Jack Smith and Donald Trump to address both have the same faulty legal premise, which is that these documents can be determined under the Presidential Records Act to be personal versus governmental documents. That alone is very questionable that a president has that unilateral power. But the real problem with both option A and option B is that the Presidential Records Act is irrelevant. The president, the former president, is not being charged with a violation of the Presidential Records Act. He's being charged with keeping classified information, national defense information at Mar-a-Lago and obstruction of justice. That has nothing to do with the Presidential Records Act. So this is like saying, I'd like you to address Jack Smith, I'd like to address the jury charge with respect to whether and how the Earth is flat. That's option A. And then in option B, I want you to address how the jury should consider how the Earth is square. Both of those are absurd, and so they're legally just fundamentally wrong. There are a number of other things that are wrong with your two options. And so the real issue here, the sort of big picture issue is, what is it going to take to tee up this case so that Jack Smith can get to the 11th Circuit. I think it is absolutely beyond question at this point that this judge is both way too inexperienced for this case and has shown her partisanship. She's been reversed twice by the 11th Circuit in strong language, and she really didn't learn her lesson, and she's continued to do this same thing. This order that came out yesterday is the kind of thing that I have never seen. I have never seen sort of something that's so complete.
It would be so interesting for someone that knows about legal processes and whether judges can be oh shit, I don't remember what the word is. What is the word? Not disbarred, not basically removed from a case, right? Like, judges are supposed to be impartial. Fuck, did we just watch this on stream, or was I watching this off stream sometime? Where like the defense is obviously not required to be impartial. The prosecution is not required to be impartial, right? Why would you want there to be an impartial defense? You want the most rigorous defense that you could possibly put up. Why would you want a nonpartisan, completely neutral prosecution? You want the state to put up all of the evidence that they have to show that this person did this thing, and you want the defense to either refute that or to give an alternate theory or whatever the case is, right? The only person in that courtroom that needs to be impartial is the judge. How long can a judge go while showing preference to one side without being like forcibly recused? Like, I don't know what the answer to that is, or if it's even possible.
Off the wall, both legally and even the way it's presented. So the issue is is Jack Smith going to sort of figure out how to get this to the 11th Circuit and take his shot at both getting her reversed and getting her removed?
Interesting. Okay, I'm going to try and fix something on the go try and fix something for the short stream. So give me just 1 second. Oh, well, I just sent a request to see it, Tron. So if you want me to see that, then approve the Gmail. 1 second. Let me do this off screen for a second. In the meantime, hey guys, if you guys like my content and you're watching on YouTube, all right, please like the stream. You would be absolutely astonished to know how much a simple like helps. So please consider liking. Open with. Can I just save it? Or is it going to crash all of my streams because I'm trying to download something? Cool. Okay, well, we'll open this up right here. Let's see if this loads. Okay, we'll let him load for a little bit. Okay. What else? Okay, there we go. Let's try and download this. If it will let me. All right, 4 seconds left. Stream still hasn't killed. Download complete. Then here. All right. Let's see Let's see what this bad boy can do. Oh, 1 second. Let me just do it like this. 1 sec. Center. Oh, man. Look how smooth that is. Perfection. I bet that looks real nice. All right, what else do we have on the news tab to catch up on the news? You gotta go to... Wrong account. You're good. All right. Analysts discuss the Supreme Court allowing... Oh, shit. I did see about this right before I started stream. Oh, wait. Hold on. I want to watch this shit, okay? We put out a short the other day, and I put out a short the other day, and holy shit, the amount of seething and coping and crying about, oh, well, you're not even a lawyer. Where did you get your law degree from, son? Because I was repeating what every news organization is saying, that Trump has bond. He has to pay that bond, or else like some of his assets are going to be liquefied for him against his will. And people were like saying that like there is no bond in a civil case. Yeah, there is. If you want to appeal it. So I just want to see if this is true. Fuck.
Judge Engoron says that he wants this $350 million within 30 days. Now, I know that you're planning on appealing this, but you've still got to put up the full amount pending that appeal. Does Donald Trump have that kind of money sitting around?
Yes. I mean, he does. Of course, he has money. You know, he's a billionaire. We know that.
I don't know. That might not be true.
Wait, every single fucking thing. Hold on. Trump bond. Trump says he'd have to hold fire sale of properties to meet $464 million bond. Still unable to post bond. Trump his most crazed meltdown yet. Trump is unable to make 464. Now, granted, we could just say that they're all liberally biased, but let's see here. Unable to post bond. This is what happened if Trump can't pay his bond. He would have to hold a fire sale of properties to meet the bond. Tried to get bond from company he misled about finances. I mean, every single... Trump's lawyers are saying it's a practical impossibility to secure $464 million bond in time. Was that not...
Turning now to our...
Shut up. Was that not his lawyer right there?
So Judge Engoron says that he wants this $350 million.
What are the stupid people on the vid clip saying? Now, I believe this is his lawyer. Let's see. Trump lawyer, New York case. Even Fox acknowledges that he can't pay. Jesus Christ, dude. 1 second. What is the name of his... That's the judge. Alina Hava. Search. Yeah, that's her.
Within 30 days. Now, I know that you're planning on appealing this, but you've still got to put up the full amount pending that appeal. Does Donald Trump have that kind of money sitting around?
Yes. I mean, he does. Of course, he has money. You know, he's a billionaire. We know that.
I want to know what she said immediately after that, dude. I want to know what they said immediately after that. No, you don't. You have to put up 10% though. Well, this isn't bond to stay out of jail. This is bond to make an appeal, right? So if you want to appeal this decision, right? In order to make it to where people can't just like perpetually appeal and, you know, slow down the court cases forever. They make it to where you have to pay the full amount as bond, right, in order to appeal. But this is for civil cases. All right. So I'm not a legal expert. All right. Not a legal expert at all. But that's what every article that I've read on this, every, you know, news video that I've watched, everything that I've seen has said that exact same thing from whatever source I look at it from. And she's saying, well, he is a billionaire. I would love to see what she said immediately after that.
I don't know. That might not be true. Was that is a lawyer, Alina Habba? I don't think she's got that right.
No,
I mean, unless, you know, he comes up with the money, he has it sitting around. But
there are a lot of billionaires that wouldn't have that kind of money sitting around on their side tables.
Well, they have things. They have things. So anyhow, Donald Trump's attorneys now say he cannot secure the roughly $500 million bond for the civil fraud judgment. They asked a judge yesterday for an emergency stay, claiming a bond for the full amount is, quote, a practical impossibility after reaching out to 30 companies. Trump and his company need to post the full amount by Monday to prevent New York Attorney General Letitia James from being able to collect while he appeals, which could include seizing his assets. While Trump claims to be a billionaire, he does not have the liquidity to pay the bond himself, as the New York Times points out. Most of his net worth is from the value of his things, his real estate, which bond companies really accept as collateral. So let's dig into this. Joining us now, investigative reporter for the New York Times.
The reason for conservatives that are seething and malding and dying about this situation, the reason that they don't take properties as bond, the reason why they have to liquidate them, meaning make them into cash, right? You have to sell the property, is you have things that are liquid assets, meaning, you know, money, cash, change, you know, what you have in your bank account. Those are liquid assets. Whereas, and there are varying levels of liquidity, right? Like you have stocks and bonds are more liquid, meaning that you can turn them into cash money easier and quicker than you can, say, a car. Or even more illiquid would be property, right? Trump is a property, a real estate mogul. So because all of his wealth is tied up in real estate, in property, in order for him to pay a fine, he has to sell or make liquid those properties.
Suzanne Craig, she won a Pulitzer for an exhaustive 18-month investigation into
Kick chat needs to be on screen. I cannot figure out why it's not working. Sorry, Tron.
Former President Trump's finances that debunked his claims of self-made wealth. Also with us, former Deputy Chief of the Criminal Division for the Southern District of New York, Christy Greenberg. She's now an MSNBC analyst. Good to have you both.
How long do you think it takes? I'm sorry. How long do you think it takes for this lady to get her hair that big? Do you think it's like just like a blow dryer, just like straight at her fucking face? Sorry. I just think about that kind of stuff sometimes. How's it going, Tina Cactus?
Former Deputy Chief of the Criminal Division for the Southern District of New York, Christy Greenberg. She's now an MSNBC analyst. Good to have you both. Suzanne Craig, just curious, are there any other avenues Trump could use to pay this? What do you, with all the research that you have done into his finances, what do you think could happen here?
Right. You know, the filing does sound dire because he can't come up with the cash. And what was made really clear yesterday was that they need cash. They're not willing to accept buildings. So he, in the next week, has got to find it. You know, there could be a last minute sale of a building where he...
1 second. This headline, Michael Cohen says possibility of Trump receiving foreign money to pay bills is no joke. Jesus, okay.
Comes up with the cash. Somebody could offer it to him in a transaction. I mean, that's sort of something that would be a taxable event.
It could be natural? Huh.
And I think be pretty headline grabbing, but I think there's still some options available to him. I wouldn't say this is a closed story until, you know, we're right at the deadline and we, you know, he makes a filing just saying, I can't pay.
Right. Like a family member? Could a family member, like Jared, with the money that he received from abroad, could he pay?
I don't know if he could through that specific fund, but that's certainly one option. And if something like that happens, I think, you know, this is all new territory, so you don't want to say anything for certain, but I think we're going to have some transparency into where the money came. And if, let's say, a family member came forward, that would be considered.
She's in your head, Abaddon. Abby, she's in your fucking head. But yeah, no, the reason why I would think there's no possible way for him to use that money specifically, because it came from foreign donors, right? Kind of like the the headline that Gas was posting, if you can't have foreign nationals paying off your debt, especially as someone in a politically charged setting, all right, who's running for office. You can't have, $10 million, 15, 20, $100 million come through like Saudi Arabia to pay for your bond while you're running for president. Why? Because holy shit, the conflict of interest there, the outside influence that would be on you. So what, the majority of Trump's money has come from foreigners, and it's not like his supporters are actually going to say anything about it? Well, I'm talking about in the real world, not in the fantasy world that they live in. Right? In the real world, you can't do that. Can we get other YouTube on screen? I don't think so. Okay, one sec.
Considered a gift or a loan, and there would be tax consequences to it that would cost him. But so far, we haven't seen that. I don't want to say for sure if that was going to happen, that we would know about it already. But so far, that hasn't materialized. And he's in a situation where a number of companies have just said, we're not willing to go near a appeal bond of this size, and we want cold, hard cash.
Wow. So Suzanne, first of all, there would be quite a few billionaires that wouldn't have this cash laying around. Wouldn't be liquid. That's one. And two, let me know if you agree with that. And number two, Donald Trump's problem right now, if he did have to sell some of his properties, commercial real estate post-COVID has just been pummeled and continues to go down. So he would be selling distressed assets, wouldn't he? Or assets that certainly are not at their highest level.
Well, I think A, not at their highest level, and B, not an ideal circumstance. This is really tough to close a transaction on a major commercial building in a small amount of time. I keep thinking about one particular building that could be a possibility. He has a 50-50 venture in Las Vegas with a fellow named Phil Ruffin, who is a big supporter of his. We could see a sale like that where Phil Ruffin buys him out of that tower. I don't know if that would get him to the magic number, but those are the sort of things I'm thinking that just may be off.
Wait, is it... Someone remind me, or someone confirm for me, all right, because I've been on vacation the past couple of days. Did Trump have a meeting with Elon Musk to pay his bond? Or am I insane on that?
Options that they're looking at just to get that cash together quickly. That may not even be an option. Sort of just one of the things I've been thinking at is I've been looking at his portfolio and what could be sold in a short amount of time to meet this. But it's a lot of money. Most people don't have that sort of money sitting around. And keep in mind, he already had to come up with cash for the E. Jean Carroll bond. So that's already put a squeeze on what resources he has available.
So, Christy, he's got about a week's time to do this. From your perspective, how do you see this playing out?
Well, one thing Donald Trump is asking for is to just pay $100 million and not pay the full amount. But
yeah, this is exactly what I was saying in the short. Like, he's trying to haggle with the fucking judge. He's trying to haggle after he's already been found guilty. You don't haggle with the judge. You don't argue with a police officer when they pull you over. You don't fight with a police officer when they're trying to put handcuffs on you. You don't argue with the judge, and you certainly don't fucking haggle with the judge.
But he cites in his brief a number of cases to support that. They're all federal. None of them are New York State cases. There is nothing in the New York State code that says you can pay some, 25 cents on the dollar for this, or that you can, because there's a monitor's oversight, that somehow that should change the analysis. By the way, wasn't being completely forthcoming with the monitor as it is. So I don't see him legally being able to get out of this. He can appeal all he wants, but if he wants the judgment to be stayed, he has to put up the full amount.
So he has until Monday. Oh shit, I should have checked when was that posted? 10 hours ago. So he has about a week to come up with $464 million. Jesus Christ. All right, real quick. I'm going to start doing this a lot more, and I hate doing it, but it's shill time. If you guys like the stream, or you guys fucking hate this stream because I'm a dumb libtard, like this stream because it helps me out. And wouldn't you want to help out even your enemies? Isn't that what the Bible says, right? But yeah, please like the stream, subscribe to the channel, etc., etc. if you disagree with something that I say on anything here, then please feel free to join the Discord. All right. I have a Discord server that you can jump into. Look at it right here. Ooh, look at this. The Sondsol server, where you can post content suggestions, where if you want me to go over something, oh, look, maybe we'll watch this here in a second. You can post things that you want me to watch on stream, and maybe I'll watch them. All right. We have fun things that people talk about in the Gen chat. Jump into the Discord, guys. All right. Like the streams. Make my day. The worst one no one talks about is killing the hotel in DC with his power as president. Wait, which one are you talking about? The one that people should talk about, how a man can tank 2 different casinos, not one, but 2 failed casinos through sheer stupidity and no business sense like Trump did. That's because nobody knows. Like, restaurants are really, really difficult to keep open, and people don't realize how hard it is to keep a restaurant afloat. I would assume that a casino is a money-making machine, and that it's really hard to make that fail. But I don't know enough about the business, so I can't say. Have I seen the? I have seen the bloodbath. I have seen the bloodbath comments, and I am not gonna lie, folks. I'm not gonna lie. I think that this one is not the thing to try and like fight Trump on. I don't think that he did anything, fucking crazy here. One sec. Let me fix one thing before I keep on talking about this. Okay, that looks slightly better. Okay, cool. But yeah, I feel like he was talking about one thing, and this is one of the criticisms that I have of liberals. All right, like capital L liberals. No, not capital L. I guess this would be just like liberals in like the U.S. context. So little L liberal. All right. The problem with liberals in the United States is they'll do shit like this, which is essentially here online, we call it clip chimping. All right. We call it clip chimping, where you take just a little segment of what someone says and then remove the outer context. Now, is this how he should be talking? No. He shouldn't be using the term bloodbath in any context, given the history of his political life, okay? Given his political history, he shouldn't be doing it. But at the same time, libs need to understand that there is so much good shit that you can criticize Donald Trump on that there is literally no reason. There is literally no reason to make shit up. And when you make shit up, you give his supporters and you give people who are on the fence ammunition to say, look, he didn't actually say that. You guys misrepresent everything he says. He was talking about the auto industry is going to be a bloodbath, right? Like that's what you're giving them. Whereas you could focus on the really fucking crazy shit that he says or that his lawyers say for him. Like a president can use SEAL Team 6 to assassinate their political rivals with no legal repercussions. Anyways, let's listen to this.
And the head of the United Auto Workers never probably shook hands with a Republican before. They're destroying. You know, Mexico has taken over a period of 30 years, 34% of the automobile manufacturing business in our country. Think of it. Went to Mexico. China now is building a couple of massive plants where they're going to build the cars in Mexico and they think that they're going to sell those cars into the United States with no tax at the border. Let me tell you something to China. If you're listening, President Xi, and you and I are friends, but he understands the way I do.
You also probably shouldn't, if you're running for the President of the United States, our number one adversary on the world stage, probably shouldn't say that you're buds with the leader who is actively trying to fuck with our shit across the world. It's probably just something you shouldn't do. Someone please remind me after we listen to this, or someone please find me the clip of Trump caught on a hot mic saying something about Kim Jong-un. He said something like absolutely fucking absurd about Kim Jong-un, like positively. Abaddon, if you want to link me something, you're gonna have to either do it in DMs or in the Discord because the YouTube chat doesn't allow it.
Deal. Those big monster car manufacturing plants that you're building in Mexico right now, and you think you're going to get that, you're going to not hire Americans, and you're going to sell the cars to us. No, we're going to put a 100% tariff on every single car that comes across the line, and you're not going to be able to sell those cars.
Goodbye, Toyota. Goodbye, Kia. Goodbye, Honda. A 100% tax? Can you imagine how much a fucking Lamborghini costs, dude? Like, this is just bad economic policy that nobody would vote for in Congress. Even the Republicans, who are protectionists, would never fucking would never, ever, ever pass a bill putting a 100% tariff on foreign-made cars. That is fucking insane. Also, do we want Americans making cheap cars? I mean, please pay no attention to Ford or Chevy. The only cars that they make that are worth a shit are their trucks. What do we want Americans building spaceship? What do we want Americans building spaceships and programming? True.
I get elected. Now, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole. That's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country. That'll be the least of it. But they're not going to sell those cars. They're building massive factories. A friend of mine, all he does is build car manufacturing plants. He's the biggest in the world. I mean, honestly, I joke about it. He can't walk across the street. In that way, he's like Biden. But for building a plant, he can do the greatest plants in the world, right? That's all he cares about. I said, I'd like to see one of your plants recently. I said, I'd like to see, where can we go? Well, we have to travel to Mexico. I said, why Mexico? He said, because that's where the big plants are building. China's building really big plants in Mexico, and Mexico's building.
America is building really big plants in Mexico. Everyone is building really big plants in Mexico. But we don't have Chinese cars in America, right? Like, are there any Chinese brands that are like major? One second. I just hope this doesn't start playing the second that I start typing over here. All right. You gonna stay paused? Ah, good boy. All right. Chinese car brands in USA. Does anybody recognize any of these? Are any Chinese cars sold in the US? Not exactly. No Chinese electric vehicle manufacturer sells consumer-grade cars inside the US under its own brand names. Okay, well, this is about the same topic. I'm so curious. Okay, so Volvos might be made in China. Okay. Commercial trade electric trucks and buses inside the US. So right now we don't have Chinese cars taking over our market. unless maybe I just live in Texas, so we don't have all the girly cars. All right. But I don't see a lot of Volvos driving around. And we don't even know for sure if Volvo is one of the car brands that is made in China. So
What about here? Well, we're building much smaller plants here. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? So what they're saying, Jim Jordan, is that we're going to make cars in Mexico, and they're going to do. You're not going to stand for that, Bernie, JD. I have a feeling JD's not big into that policy. Well,
that's what I did. That's how I got to this. The Chinese car brands. This one is Swedish owned, but majority shares are owned by China. Well, I guess now they've headquartered it in. So the article that we read was outdated, I guess. I don't know.
100% tariff. They won't sell any cars over here. And I'll tell them, if they want to build a plant in Michigan, in Ohio, in South Carolina, they can, using American workers. They can. They can't send Chinese workers over here, which they sometimes do. But if they want to do that, we're welcome, right? But they're not going to build them in Mexico, and they're not going to do that. We're going to tariff them at 100%, just like I've done. I saved the steel industry. The people that like me.
He didn't save the steel industry. The steel industry had a dip because of the tariffs that he put on fucking. Oh. Steel became more expensive under Trump because he put tariffs on both China and our own ally, fucking Canada, to save an industry that was dying in the United States. Because it's cheaper to get it from other places that have more efficient ways of making it. I mean, like, fuck, I thought that, fuck me, I thought that Republicans were supposed to be the ones that were good at economics. I thought that Republicans were the ones that understood, like, comparative advantage. I thought that Republicans were supposed to be good on the economy.
Be the most of the steel companies. But now I've been out for a little while, and guess what? United States Steel, 50 years, 60 years ago, maybe the greatest company in the world, was just sold to Japan. How do you like that? U.S. Steel owned.
1 second. Americans are fucking wizards. We make some of the best shit and we make some of the best technology. Why would we weigh down our economy and our workforce? Yeah, why would we weigh down our economy and our workforce making cars? I mean, here's the thing. Comparative advantage is something that we should take advantage of because we have an advantage in tech, in service, and stuff like that. We don't have the advantage in manufacturing because American workers cost way more than they do elsewhere, like in Mexico or in China. Now, under Biden, not under Trump, funnily enough, under Biden, we've done a lot of protectionist stuff against China, right? We've lowered our amount of trade with them. There's been all sorts of shit that he's done that I haven't looked super deep into. Trump put a tariff on steel, right? Americans are much more entitled than other labor forces. Not saying it's a bad thing. It just is a thing. Yeah, I mean, we're entitled because we have the most powerful country in the entire world, right? We have the biggest, strongest economy in the entire world, and it's not even close. So yeah, we're going to be more entitled, right? But we can do stuff where we don't have to have a manufacturing base, except for essential things. Like I agree with like the CHIPS Act, right, which is protectionist technically, but the CHIPS Act is meant as a stopgap for, like let's assume Taiwan does get invaded by China, right? Taiwan is the only place in the world where the extreme high-end chips are being manufactured. If that happens, then China is in control of all of those, and now we are beholden to China so that we can continue to getting these, really nice computer chips. Sorry. So we probably want to have some amount of manufacturing base in our own country, even if it is slightly more expensive. Because why? Because we don't want to be locked out of that market in the event that, China invades and is able to secure Taiwan. Right? The same thing with like medical supplies, the same thing with basically anything. We should have enough manufacturing to cover our bases in the event of catastrophe, but we don't need to put arbitrary restrictions on our economy just because we want to bolster one sector of that economy that's been dying for decades. Fact check on Trump's steel claims. Stop. Uh-oh, factcheck.org, liberal bastion. The tariffs on steel imports benefited domestic steelmakers, but the president exaggerates the changes for the industry. Summary. We'll read the summary. To hear President Donald Trump tell the story of the U.S. steel industry, it went from dead to, or going out of business, to thriving, all because of the 25% tariffs on imported steel he instituted on March 2018, or in March 2018. While the tariffs have benefited U.S. steel producers, the reality of the impact isn't that stark. Domestic prices went up, for instance, but are now back down below the level they were when Trump was inaugurated. Production has gone up too, but has been higher as recently as 2014. While the industry has announced several new investments, it's simply not true that a new mill hasn't been built in 30 years, as the president wrongly claimed. Steel and iron mill jobs have increased, but they're below the pre-Great Recession level, and technology has been a major factor affecting the long-term jobs decline. Below, we'll look at several claims Trump has made about the steel industry in recent months and how they measure up to the facts. In late March 2018, Trump instituted 25% tariffs on imported steel and 10% tariffs on aluminum, with temporary exemptions for some countries, using his authority under Section 232 of the blah, blah, blah. As required by the Act, the Commerce Department had determined that the imports threatened national security. 2 months later, he permanently exempted Argentina, Brazil, and South Korea from the steel tariffs with quotas on imports instead. Australia was also exempted without a quota. In August 2018, Trump increased the tariff on steel from Turkey to 50%. This year, in May, Trump lifted the tariffs on Canada and Mexico. When was this written? 2019. Lowered the tariff on Turkey back to 25%. U.S. companies have also received exclusions on certain imports. Oh, 1 second. All right, we're back. Let's see here. Okay, we'll finish out the last couple of seconds.
I wouldn't have allowed it to happen. Hopefully they won't allow it to happen. When I'm
1 second, guys. Jesus Christ. Sorry about that. Fuck. Sorry. I have a sick cat, and he was not doing good just now, so I had to go down there and take care of him. CIA handler? Yeah, I fucking wish. I wish I had a CIA handler telling me to stream, not stream, paying me. 1 second. How hot is it outside? I am fucking sweating just running up and down the stairs. Hello? Weather app? Oh, bro, I'm opening the fucking window, dude. It is hot as fuck in this room. Okay, now we're back. All right, what were we doing? Oh, yeah.
Are we close to seeing Mr. Kim here at the White House?
Could happen. I mean,
they talked about that yesterday.
I think it's something that could happen. Yeah. Hey, he's the head of a country, and I mean, he is the strong head. Don't let anyone think anything different.
Right.
He speaks, and his people sit up at attention. I want my people to do the same.
If Trump, Jesus, that's fucking right. God, fuck. I want my people to do the same. That shit's insane, dude. You can't fucking say that. They sit up at attention because they don't want to be sent off to a fucking North Korean gulag, dude.
Are we close to seeing Mr. Kim here at the White House?
Could happen. I mean,
they talked about that yesterday.
I think it's something that could happen. Yeah. Hey, he's the head of a country, and I mean, he is the strong.
He's the dictator. He's the strong man. Yes.
Okay. Don't let anyone think anything different.
Right.
He speaks, and his people sit up at attention. I want my people to do the same.
If Trump, it's just fucking insane. Yeah, I want to be, I want to be supreme leader. Like, bro, come the fuck on. There's no fucking way. Any other president, like, think about for a second, like the things that disqualified people from. Think about the things that would disqualify people running for office. I don't mean like legally disqualify them, just like in the eyes of voters. Just 10 years ago, just 15, 20 years ago. You say the wrong word one time. That's it. You cheat on your wife. That's it. You don't go to church. That's it. You have the appearance of impropriety, either financially or, politically. That's it. You praise the dictator of an unbelievably authoritarian regime that we went to war with, and it's been the same regime ever since, that is building nuclear weapons and aiming them at our allies. And you praise them. Can you imagine anyone in the world but Trump saying those things and continuing to have a leading spot in your party? Why isn't this chat on stream? Because it's two different. Here, I'll explain all that after stream, okay? But for now, the only one that we can have on is the main stream YouTube chat. If you want me to hide that, I can. There. Hidden.
Wins again, America.
It's just fucking crazy, dude. This is the world Trump wants. Hard labor for watching South Korean films. "12 years of hard labor, bro. 12 years of hard labor? That's fucking insane. I want all, not fewer. Well, I'll work on that, Tron, okay? Oh my god, the Fairy Queen girl. Oh shit, hold on. Real quick, sidebar. I'm going to look at my friend's Twitter real quick. Oh, she never responded. She posted something on Twitter, the Fairy Queen girl, at Fairy Queen's cottage. And like, the only reason people know about her is because she had this whole, well, actually, let's not watch this, but go to her channel. 573 subscribers, 31 videos. Vosh the confrontation. Measles, IVF baby's grandpa, oh my. On one hand, I'm kind of curious to click on some of her shit, but at the same time, bro, like, she seems like one of those people that tries to farm extreme outrage for clicks. That's what it seems like. And the way she farms outrage for clicks is by like doing the whole like turf, like, you know, this is a Discord server for biological women only. Anyway, sorry. I just so weird. Oh yeah, the defense in the past, every time Trump has talked about wanting to be a dictator, it's a joke. People have said it's just a show, but he honestly believes this even behind closed doors. Yeah, 100%. I'm a subscriber apparently. Oh shit, is the chat on the is that set to subscribers only? One second. Let me see here. Because I don't want subscribers only. Chat. Customization. Participant modes. Anyone. Yeah, anyone could comment there. Don't freak me the fuck. Oh, I'm a subscriber to Fairy Queen? Okay, gotcha. Oh, man. Let's see. What else have we not caught up with? Let's close out some of the... Oh, wait, hold on. Actually, let's... see if they have a video on this. No, they don't. Let's see if there is news. Let's see if we see Michael Cohen in any of these thumbnails. We don't. It says that I've watched part of this. I don't remember watching any of this.
I want to jump right into this claim that it's a practical impossibility to find someone to underwrite a bond that big. What does that tell you about how wealthy Donald Trump is or is not?
Well, look, you know, we are talking about a $500 million bond. He is in the real estate industry. Much of his assets are leveraged. Real estate is not what, as some of your other guests have already pointed out, it's not where they want to go. They don't want to go with that because, let's not forget, if he sells the assets, there's also a tax consequence that will be due. He has long-term capital gains. And because it's New York, you also have city and state tax. So you're looking at effectively a 40% taxable rate. Not only does he have that, he also has, on top of that, mortgages attached. So taxes, state taxes and federal taxes come first, then followed by the mortgage. Then whatever's left over would ultimately go to pay off the judgment or to repay the bond. That's why nobody wants it. And he's right. It's effectively impossible. Now, what does it turn around and tell you? It tells you that he's not nearly as rich as he sold himself to the American people. That he, even at the trial, at the New York Attorney General trial, he told Judge Engoron that he was worth and had at least $400 million in cash. Well, if that's true, post the $400 million and get the balance. And if it's not true, well, who knows? Maybe it could be a perjury.
It's like the same fucking thing with his with the evidence, right? With the evidence that he keeps on talking about, with the election fraud, or with any of the cases that he's talking about now. People just keep on saying, "Oh, well, he's going to give up the evidence. He's going to show all the evidence, and then all the libs are going to be seething and coping and screaming, right?" But then he never posts any of the evidence. He never shows any of the evidence anywhere because he doesn't have it. If Trump had the money, he would have posted it. He would have posted the bond. And there's just no shot that he wouldn't. Here, we're going to play a game in the background really quick. There we go.
Recharge.
So let's pick up on that point, because one of the things that Trump's lawyers said today in the filing is that they went to nearly 30 surety bond providers, and every one of them was unwilling, to your point, to accept the real estate as collateral. So if that's the case, then where does he get $454 million plus and counting to pay for this? That liquidation process seems like it's going to take forever. I mean, you just can't sell a building in 24 hours, pay all the taxes and things like that. So he's still up against a wall, right?
Well, absolutely. And you have bigger problems than that. As Americans, we should be very concerned about where that money is coming from. First and foremost, if it's coming from a company like Chubb or Federated, yes, we know that company. It's an American company and so on. But what if hypothetically the money is coming from Saudi Arabia, from Qatar? What if by chance it's coming through a backdoor channel of Russia? That now leaves a potential presidential candidate. Hear me on this, Mike. It leaves a presidential candidate basically owing a foreign entity, all at the expense of America's national security. This is no joke. This places our national security in jeopardy and continues to make...
I'm sorry, did he say anything that shows that it's a possibility? I don't even know if it's a possibility. If they find out that the money is coming from a foreign national, is there nothing that can block that? And also, is there any evidence that he's seeking that out? Sorry, I don't know. I know this guy fucking hates the fuck out of Trump, but
then whatever's left over would ultimately go to pay off the judgment or to repay the bond. That's why nobody wants it. And he's right. It's effectively impossible. Now, what does it turn around and tell you? It tells you that he's not nearly as rich as he sold himself to the American people. That he, even at the trial, at the New York Attorney General trial, he told Judge Engoron that he was worth and had at least $400 million in cash. Well, if that's true, post the $400 million and get the balance. And if it's not true, well, who knows? Maybe it could be a perjury charge.
So let's pick up on that point, because one of the things that Trump's lawyers said today in the filing is that they went to nearly 30 surety bond providers, and every one of them was unwilling, to your point, to accept the real estate as collateral. So if that's the case, then where does he get $454 million plus and counting to pay for this. That liquidation process seems like it's going to take forever. I mean, you just can't sell a building in 24 hours, pay all the taxes and things like that. So he's still up against a wall, right?
Well, absolutely. And you have bigger problems than that. As Americans, we should be very concerned about where that money is coming from. First and foremost, if it's coming from a company like Chubb or Federated, yes, we know that company, it's an American company, and so on. But what if hypothetically the money is coming from Saudi Arabia, from Qatar? What if by chance it's coming through a backdoor channel of Russia? That now leaves a potential presidential candidate. Hear me on this, Mike. It leaves a president.
Actually, like the initial headline was like, oh, that's a little bit worrying. And I guess it is worrying. But what is the actual possibility that that could even happen without someone knowing about it? Is there a law against it? I mean, it feels like there ought to be a law against it to take money from a foreign national to pay off your bond. Or let's say a foreign government. Trump did take foreign money while in office. Jesus. In foreign cash while in office, he'd do it again. Green financial conflicts of interest will certainly haunt the White House if the former president returns. Holding at least $7.8 million from foreign governments and officials of 20 countries during his presidency. The bulk of that came from China, but Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and others chipped in relatively modest amounts. Man, I wonder what the the people freaking the fuck out about Biden and Hunter Biden getting $9 million while he was out of office are going to say about this. Like, how much is it that they were saying? How much Biden received from China? Let's see if that gives us what we want or if it's... Received $40,000 in laundered China money. And unless this is very recent, November 1st, 2023, okay, so it's not true. Because we've been shown that the Biden family, all of the allegations against them were coming from people who had zero credibility that the Republicans have dropped because they have zero credibility. So the allegation was $40,000. Trump got at least $7.8 million from foreign governments. From China, Saudi Arabia, Qatar. Trump has never been as wealthy as he claimed, but he's still a rich man. $7.8 million may not mean as much to him as it would to an average wage earner. National security is at stake if a president puts his or her wallet before the public interest. Jesus fucking Christ, bro. Holy shit, Cringe Panda. I haven't thought about that person in fucking years. Okay. What else do we have to go over? Anyone have any funny clips? Anything interesting happening? See the Guardian video? Which one was that? It's CNN. The Hill. Can you link it again? Oh shit, we haven't even finished this one. Link it again so I can watch it.
Presidential candidate basically owing a foreign entity all at the expense of America's national security. This is no joke. This places our national security in jeopardy and continues to make Donald Trump the single most dangerous the most dangerous thing in America to our national security and democracy.
So on that point then, because you know the man as you do, you know how he operates. This real estate portfolio is just one of a lot of big pieces for him that are now subject to garnishment, if you will. What does this mean? What do you think is going through his mind right now, to your very point, that could potentially make him dangerous? Is he going to be out there looking at how he can backdoor some cash or a relationship, using a relationship period, which is why the documents case was so gnarly and important? What was happening with some of those documents and things like that? What does that landscape now for him look like, and how do you think his mind is processing all of this?
He doesn't care where the money comes from as long as he gets it. I mean, even if that places our national security in risk. He's already shown documents to individuals over at Mar-a-Lago who did not have clearance to view them. I will tell you that making Trump president was the absolute worst idea that I ever had, bar none. Right now, our national security is potentially at risk, not just because of the documents that we know that he had, but more importantly, because of the positioning that he is in right now as one of the leaders of one of our two political parties in this country.
You raise a number of interesting points with respect to how the national security piece fits into this, how the domestic piece fits in this, the cost in these cases. You're going to be also possibly speaking before Congress on this matter. How are you assessing that, and what that potentially may mean to either help Donald Trump using that time on the Hill in a way against those who are against Tish James and those who are coming after him in this New York case? How are you assessing your role in some of this?
Well, look, I didn't ask to be a part of this. I was subpoenaed by 7 different
I didn't ask for this.
congressional committees. I have provided the testimony. The testimony then led to more testimony. I didn't testify before the New York Attorney General because I wanted to. I was subpoenaed for that. I will also be testifying now at the New York District, at the Manhattan District Attorney with the Alvin Bragg hush money case because I am subpoenaed. If I'm subpoenaed, I will do what I need to do. I will continue to provide the truthful information. And if that ultimately holds Donald Trump accountable for his dirty deeds, so be it.
All right, so to that point, 1 week from today should have been the start of the Manhattan DA case, Alvin Bragg's case against Trump. That case, too, has also now been postponed by probably a month, hopefully not more, but we'll see. We know you can't speak about that case since you're expected to take the stand, as you noted. But are you confident that, like Tish James and the civil fraud case, that Donald Trump will be held accountable in that case as well?
Well, let me say that in 2018, when I sat before the House Oversight Committee with the late, great Congressman Elijah Cummings, God rest his soul, all I can say is I said that Donald Trump is a cheat, he's a con man and a fraud, and that he will ultimately be held accountable for his actions. I do believe that Donald Trump so far has been held accountable for all of these matters that have now made it their way to a judge and to a courtroom, and I believe that the same thing will take place with the Manhattan District Attorney's case. All of these cases are predicated on documentary evidence, not on individuals. So it makes no difference that their intent is to try to denigrate me and to attack my credibility. The one thing that they cannot attack are the documents and the documentary evidence that will be presented.
Brutal. Okay, we'll watch the Guardian thing, and then we'll watch something by Pondering Politics. And then I'm probably going to have to go until tomorrow. But if you like the stream, please hit the thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube. If you are not enjoying the stream, if you think that I'm a hack, a political freak, liberal, disgusting worm of a man, I don't fucking... then, hey, listen, I am a all-comers, all accepted. Well, I say all accepted. I will accept most offers to talk to someone on a voice call. So if you want to talk to me, there is always the Discord link in the About section of the YouTube or on Kick. If you want to challenge me on something, or if you think that I'm wrong about something, please let me know in the chat. Let me know in Discord. Anyways, okay, let's see what this is. If it loads. There we go.
In Syria, when there's refugees, Turkey took them, Europe took them, Jordan took them. For whatever reason, here in Gaza, there's refugees from the fighting, from an offensive attack that was staged from Gaza. Israel's going in to do, a long-term deterrence mission. And it's just, it's unfortunate that nobody's taking the refugees.
But also there are real fears on the part of Arabs, and I'm sure you talk to a lot of them, who think once Gazans leave Gaza, Netanyahu's never going to let them back in.
Maybe, but I'm not sure there's much left of Gaza at this point. So,
oh my
If
God.
you think about even the construct, like, Gaza was not really a historical precedent, right? It was the result of a war, right? You had tribes that were in different places, but then Gaza became a thing. Egypt, used to run it. And then, over time, you had different governments that came in different ways. So you have another war, usually when wars happen, borders are changed historically over time. And so my sense is I would say, how do we deal with the terror threat that is there so that it cannot be a threat to Israel or to Egypt, right? I think that both sides are spending a fortune on military. I think neither side really wants to have, a terrorist organization enclaved right between them. And Gaza's waterfront property, it could be very valuable to, if people would.
Jesus Christ. Like, say what you will about, like, liberal streamers and defending Israel. This is fucking crazy. The waterfront properties in Gaza are probably really valuable. Brother, that's not what anyone wants to talk about right now. Nobody's talking about the relative real estate property of the Gaza Strip post whatever the name of the operation is, dude. What an absolutely fucking unhinged thing to say.
Would focus on kind of building up, livelihoods. You think about all the money that's gone into this tunnel network and into all the munitions. If that would have gone into education or innovation, what could have been done? And so I think that it's a little bit of an unfortunate situation there. But I think from Israel's perspective, I would do my best to move the people out and then clean it up. But I don't think that Israel has stated that they don't want the people to move back there afterwards.
You saw Tom Friedman's column on Tuesday about, where he put forward a plan to get out of this. Biden should recognize the Palestinian Authority unilaterally as a state, and MBS should go to Jerusalem like Egyptian President Anwar Sadat did in 1977, and he should say, I'll normalize with Israel, I'll recognize West Jerusalem as your capital, and I'll even pay to rebuild Gaza if you recognize a Palestinian state with East Jerusalem as its capital. What do you think? Good idea?
No, I don't think that's a good idea. I think that there's certain elements of it that are correct. I think proactively recognizing a Palestinian state would essentially be rewarding an act of terror that was perpetrated into Israel. So it's a.
I think that, unfortunately, I'm going to have to agree with them. Yeah, on that one specific issue, I would agree that it's just saying, oh, okay, well, terrorism works. This is why I'm not like a super big like ceasefire now, start negotiations immediately for a 2-state solution. I'm not in favor of those things for a multitude of reasons. But also, holy shit. The idea that we're going to like start talking about like the real estate value of the Gaza Strip after that is fucking crazy. It is loony land. Holy fucking shit, dude.
Super bad idea in that regard.
Jesus Christ. And a handbasket. That's absolutely fucking crazy. Okay, let's see if this loads.
Disgraced Republican Congressman James Comer went on the Fox Propaganda Network to once again desperately try to sell the merits of the failed Biden impeachment inquiry, even as House Democrats continue to publicly challenge him to investigate the true corrupt White House family, the Trumps. But before we unpack all that,
I've been watching a couple of ponderings, or what, do we still call him ruminate, or do we call him pondering politics now? I don't know. I guess pondering. This is short? Okay, if it's actually short.
Unbelievable when I see
Yeah.
it, when I see it going. But I got to know all these people. They're very smart, very streetwise. And I would do the same thing. If I had prisons that were teeming with MS-13 and all sorts of people that they've got to take care of for the next 50 years, right? Young people, they're in jail for years, and if you call them people, I don't know if you call them people. In some cases, they're not people, in my opinion, but I'm not allowed to say that because the radical left for the next 50 years.
Oh, I love the, oh, bro. I fucking love, this is what I fucking love. I love it when people say something and they're like, I know I'm not allowed to say that. I know I'm not allowed to say that because it makes people upset, but I'm going to say it anyway because I'm just super cool. The fact that I'm cool enough to say this, even though it makes people mad, should make you vote for me. Like, come the fuck on. Nobody's saying you can't say that. In like any kind of legal sense, they're saying that if you say it makes you kind of a piece of shit to call another human being an animal. Or if you remove someone's humanity for political points. You can absolutely, and I 1 billion% believe this, I think that you can have a strong stance, an incredibly strong stance on immigration without being a total piece of shit, without calling people, you know, human animals or some shit like that.
And I would do the same thing. If I had prisons that were teeming with MS-13 and all sorts of people that they've got to take care of for the next 50 years, right? Young people, they're in jail for years, and if you call them people, I don't know if you call them people. In some cases, they're not people, in my opinion, but I'm not allowed to say that because the radical left says that's a terrible thing to say. They say you have to vote against him because did you hear what he said about humanity? I've seen the humanity, and these are bad, these are animals, okay? And we have to stop it. We can't have another Lakin. We have so many people. We have so many people being hurt so badly and being killed. They're sending their prisoners to see us. They're sending, and they're bringing them right to the border.
And if you ask for evidence of them sending, like emptying their prisons and sending them to the United States so they don't have to deal with them, there's never any link. There's never any, you know, post. There's never any legal document. There's nothing. He talks about them sending people from their asylums, and you don't see any of those people from asylums over here, right? You don't see any reports of them emptying out asylums so they'll come to the United States. You don't see them shipping off. Like, here's the deal. The overwhelming majority of people that come over here aren't criminals. Does that mean that we should take every single person that comes over our borders? Probably not. Probably not, at least not in the quantities that they're coming in. And I think that that's like a fair thing to say. But you have to have a solution. And he neither has the rhetoric nor the solution. So yeah, you shouldn't vote for him. Not just because he's a piece of shit. Not just because he's a piece of shit that like obviously has no care or regard for the statements that he says or what effects those have on the rest of the fucking country. It's not just that. He also has no solution. The closest thing to a solution that we've had in the past, like what, 30 fucking years, got axed by who? By him. Because if he didn't have immigration to run on, and we actually did get the southern border under control, he'd be a little bit fucked. He wouldn't have anything to run on.
Border, and they're dropping them off, and we're allowing them to come in, and these are tougher than anybody.
I'm pretty sure MS-13 are in El Salvadorian prisons. I mean, listen, I don't know a lot about MS-13. I mean, there are MS-13 cells, or there are MS-13 gangs in America. That's true, at least so far as I understand. But I don't think that MS-13 gangs in the United States are such a big deal that we should start calling everyone that comes over our border fucking animals, lunatics, or rapists. You know?
Sending their prisoners to see us. They're sending, and they're bringing them right to the border, and they're dropping them off, and we're allowing them to come in. And these are tougher than anybody we've got in the country. These are hardened criminals, and we've got hundreds of.
Like, I would just want to like imagine, like, let's take everyone. I was about to say for you guys to take off your earphones, but then you won't be able to work in this exercise for me. I want you guys to put yourself in the most paranoid, schizophrenic, hyper terrified state in your mind that you can. And then think about the southern border. And think of the scale. I feel like that is the only headspace a human being could be in to believe a goddamn thing that this guy is saying. A single goddamn thing that he is saying right here. You would have to be the most paranoid, schizophrenic, fucking like CIA is about to break down my door because I've uncovered too many truths type person to believe a single goddamn word that this guy has said this entire time. Best president of the last 100 years. So true. So true, Berto.
Thousands of them.
I took off my headphones to put myself in the same headspace as Berto there, and I totally forgot. Fuck. It's just like, I don't understand. I'm all for recognizing issues, finding solutions, having a little bit of give and take in the legislative process, where the Democrats put forward what they want, the Republicans put forward what they want. You negotiate it until it's acceptable to both parties, or at least mostly acceptable to both parties. It gets passed, gets put into law. I'm all for that. 1 billion fucking %. But that's not what he's doing. We had that bill. We had that bill. And he told the Republican Party not to vote for it. Love you do the same rant every day. Yeah, I mean, like, listen, I'll give the same rant every single day until it stops being true. Can you give me a solution that Trump has proposed besides build a wall that will ever get passed into law? Anyone, like literally anyone, give me a solution that Trump has come up with that would solve anything that would get passed.
Yes, they're sending, and they're bringing them right to the border, and they're dropping them off, and we're allowing them to come in. And these are tougher than anybody we've got in the country. These are hardened criminals. And we've got hundreds of thousands of them. And we're not going to take it. We're just not going to take it. They are destroying our country. I'm telling you, he's the worst president we've ever had and the most incompetent president.
And just meanders away from, okay, cool, got it. Just meanders away from what he was talking about. Understood. Okay, let's watch the Pondering Politics video. I was going to say before we moved over to that, see the meme? It's exactly what Berto sees. Okay, quickly. Also, we know where you're... Well, actually, China's demographics are in flux right now. Their demographics are kind of fucked as well. Yeah, this is what they think is happening literally every single day. When was this? A year ago. Bro, they're just grabbing... Some of them are just grabbing that shit with their bare hands. What the fuck? Not gonna lie, I totally thought you were gonna link the video from World War Z. I thought you were gonna link the video from World War Z of the zombies coming over the wall in Israel or some shit. Okay. Now I'm actually going to like finish saying this. I've been watching some of Pondering Politics videos, and while he's definitely not nonpartisan, right? It's not like he's some, bastion of perfect, whatever the fuck. He's not that. He's not perfectly, even-handed in his analysis of things, and he admits this. I think that, like, in terms of people not being 100%, bipartisan in their analysis of shit and all of that, I think he's probably the best person out there doing this. No shade to any of my other liberal buddies out there. Like IRI, I love IRI. He's just way more positive, and it maybe for me as a doomer comes off as gigacope. Pondering Politics, he's like pretty spot on like where things are in reality, right? Like right now the Democrats are in a tough spot, but the Republicans are also in an incredibly like crazy tough spot because of a million different things, from getting donations and funds together for the election, whether it's for the actual like individual state Republican parties being super unbelievably fucking disorganized. The Democrats are actually not as down bad as people are trying to make them out to be because of the national polling on the presidential election, right? Like the Republicans are fucked, but in a different way than the Democrats. Democrats have an optics problem. The Republicans have an insane logistical problem, an unbelievable logistical problem that all of their money. Now, this might be untrue, or maybe there's like something here that is just being misreported. But from what I'm hearing, bro, it sounds like the Republicans are throwing all of their money for like the national campaign into Trump's legal fees, because he can't pay them by himself. Now, they're not going to post the bond for him, but like, dude, that's really, really fucking bad for the Republicans. Holy shit. Anyways, Pondering Politics is a pretty smart dude who seems to know what he's talking about, and I am impressed by his growth recently.
Disgraced Republican Congressman James Comer went on the Fox propaganda network to once again desperately try to sell the...
Like I said, he is definitely still partisan, all right? Just by listening to that, he's definitely still partisan. But I think that he's more on the money than similar liberal streamers who like go over like specifically news. Yeah, it sounds like a tarred rumor you would believe. I don't even know if that's like a rumor or if that's just like a fact. It's not something that I believe or like don't believe. It's just something that I've heard that I don't know about, like the intricacies of political spending and shit like that. So I'm not going to like make a definitive statement one way or another about what I do or don't believe, because I'm perfectly in the middle of belief on that one. I have no clue. There's no way for me to know without diving super deep into RNC spending habits, However, I do know that Trump's like donations to Trump's personal campaign, like his campaign for president that he does through his campaign website, those are 100% going to cover his legal fees. And that is absolutely true. I just don't know if RNC funds are being diverted there.
Merits of the failed Biden impeachment inquiry, even as House Democrats continue to publicly challenge him to investigate the true corrupt White House family, the Trumps. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. I'd greatly appreciate it.
Same
All right,
for
friends,
here,
it seems
guys.
again like Republicans just won't let things like, I don't know, facts or shame get in the way of a good story. And this story is not particularly good, right? We've seen reporting time and time again, even in the past couple of weeks, where an increasing number of Republicans are like, guys, let's just call it a day on the impeachment effort against President Biden. The facts aren't there. We have MAGA cultists like Tommy Lahren and others say, listen, the polling isn't there. This is just dead. It certainly probably won't make its way past the House. It definitely won't make its way past the Senate. This could politically backfire. But James Comer, I guess because he's afraid he'll lose his 15 minutes of fame, he's still trying. And you can see he's wrestling with himself. It's like, okay, come on. This is the Hail Mary. I want to play a couple of clips from his recent appearance on Sean Hannity's show on the Fox Propaganda Network, and we'll unpack it together.
Look, the Bidens have been investigated by the Securities and Exchange Commission, by the IRS, by the FBI, by multiple U.S. attorneys in multiple districts.
Man, so have the Trumps, except for with the Trumps, there's actually something there for them to investigate. There's actually, you know, fuck. I don't know. There's like, oh, that's the word, indictments with evidence that they went to bring to court, that people will have to testify under oath for. Yeah, the Bidens are being investigated by all these different entities because you guys are saying that there's something there to investigate. However, nobody has found any evidence for anything that you guys are saying. So how the fuck are we supposed to take anything that you say seriously?
Within the Department of Justice, but yet nothing ever happened.
I wonder why. Right? They've been investigated multiple times, but they've never been convicted of anything. Well, because investigations aren't proof of crimes, right? You have an investigation, then you come to a conclusion about whether or not you prosecute somebody, right? Just because you're investigated doesn't mean you're prosecuted. Trump's been investigated. So by James Comer's logic, all of Donald Trump's prosecutions have been merited because there were investigations which preceded them. See, he's so close to getting the point, but he's just too stupid to quite grasp it. Here's another clip.
Under oath, both Republicans and Democrats. So my understanding is you get an hour each per side, then you go an hour, you switch on and off, correct?
That's correct.
How did that go when Hunter was in there, in your view?
I think it went great. You know, the Republicans, we went the first hour. We asked a lot of questions in that first hour, substantive.
He's still trying to convince people that the deposition, the closed-door deposition of Hunter Biden went great.
Oh, yeah. Also, they only went for it to be a closed-door deposition after their one-star witness turned out to be a complete and utter fucking dud. Holy shit. Like, they were planning on it being open door for everybody to see, and then like 2 days before the deposition comes out that the dude is actually literally a Russian agent, like literally, not figuratively, not, you know, maybe he has some ties. He is literally a Russian agent who has lied under oath in the United States.
Again, the polls show that that's not the case. Other Republicans have publicly admitted that it did not go great for them. It's a consensus. So Comer he's just flying in the face of widespread consensus, even from his own party. And then this is the final clip from Hannity, in which, again, Comer tries to make the case that, you know, if anything, Democrats embarrassed themselves during the Hunter Biden deposition.
We got him on record. I'm not going to say yet whether or not we believe the truthfulness of what he said about some of the transactions and some of the wires and some of the sources of the money, but we did that, and that's what a deposition's all about. Then the Democrats had an hour, and they only took 20 minutes of their hour, and they were telling him how proud they were of him, that he overcame his drug addiction and all that. I mean, it was embarrassing how the Democrats treated him. They're not serious about an investigation. They're not serious about preventing influence.
It is good when people overcome drug addiction. Wait, hold on. What? Did I miss something? What?
And they were telling him how proud they were of him, that he overcame his drug addiction and all that. I mean, it was embarrassing how the Democrats treated him. They're not serious about an investigation. They're not serious about preventing influence peddling. They're not serious about holding one accountable.
Not serious about influence peddling. Not serious about holding anyone accountable. Interesting. Here's a Democrat, Garcia. This is what he has to say about influence peddling and holding people accountable.
No family in history has ever benefited more than the Trumps and the Kushners. And I actually want to talk about Jared over here especially, his son-in-law. His son-in-law was brought in to run Middle East policy at the start of the Trump White House. By the way, having zero experience in doing that work and against the objections of his Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson. Trump and Kushner, of course, made their first state visit to Saudi Arabia, overruling the State Department. This is at the same time, by the way, that Jared was actually putting together a $110 billion arms deal for the Saudis. But what was happening during that time? The Saudis were paying hundreds of thousands of dollars in room stays and foreign gifts that were illegal under the Constitution back into the Trump organization. Over and over, through hotels and properties, these shady investments by the president, his sons, and his son-in-law, who was an employee of the White House, all worked to enrich the Trump family and Donald Trump himself. And the insane part is that just months after leaving the White House, Jared Kushner received a $2 billion with a B investment fund from the Saudis to manage and being paid directly as well out of that fund that the Saudi government organized. I want to just mention also that our chairman also said, and I quote, that this crossed the line of ethics, end quote. So why have we not investigated the Trump crime family and the current and ongoing abuse by Jared Kushner as a government official? And I remind folks, Hunter actually never worked for the government. He was a private citizen.
Again, phenomenal point. Just by any objective metric, what Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump and Donald Trump may be guilty of, and perhaps they're not, but what they may be guilty of is infinitely objectively orders of magnitude worse when you consider that Jared Kushner was in the White House, Hunter Biden was not, Donald Trump was president when all of these shady deals occurred, Joe Biden was neither president nor vice president, and then the orders of magnitudes of disagreement or discrepancy between the money. So right now, Republicans are saying things like Hunter Biden made millions of dollars off his father's name. Well, Jared Kushner would have made billions off of Donald Trump's name in association with that, with a $2 billion investment. Then again, of course, in direct payments as well. So at least the predicate is there, and it looks a hell of a lot worse for the Trumps and the Kushners. And again, as Garcia points out, James Comer, and we covered this in a previous video, it was a year ago, when he was cornered on this, he was like, well, yeah, it looks kind of shady. It looks like it crossed the line of ethics. But then Comer dropped
the only white guy defending Democrats left? What are you talking about?
Any sort of inquiry into this, which, by the way, Democrats were looking into this when they had the majority. We'll come back to that in a minute, because I do think they mishandled some parts of this. I'll get into why. And then as soon as Comer takes the majority, the Republicans take the majority, they kill that investigation into the Trumps and the Kushners, even though it was in its effective infancy, because they're not interested in stopping influence peddling or holding people accountable. They're fine with it. They encourage it as long as it's Republicans, and then they will manufacture claims of influence peddling and conspiracy theory against Democrats. And then even more hilariously, you have Jim Jordan, the other grand inquisitor in the Biden witch hunt. This is what he had to say about Jared Kushner and that super sketchy arrangement that Kushner and Trump had regarding the Saudis.
At one point, Hunter said or testified or spoke to you about something that, hey, Jared Kushner, the President Trump's son-in-law, had more dealings with foreign governments than I did. And Dan Goldman, I don't think we have the soundbite queued up, but I think Dan Goldman came out and said, oh, yeah, Hunter had nothing to do with foreign governments, but Jared Kushner did. That narrative come up?
Again, I'm not going to get into what came up in this interview today, this deposition.
And we're not going to get into the deposition here, unless it's talking about Hunter Biden, because otherwise I look like a total fucking jackass.
But the idea that Jared Kushner did something wrong is ridiculous. I mean, the Trump family that has been investigated more than any family on the planet, and what they've...
And they have indictments against them, whereas the Bidens have zero indictments against them.
What they've attempted to do to President Trump and been doing to President Trump over the last 7 years is unbelievable. So, again, I don't want to get into that, but I will say this.
Oh, we're so mad that the Democrats don't want to hold people in power accountable. But at the same time, how horrible is it the way that they've been treating Trump and his family while they go around and do literally all the things that we're accusing the Bidens of, but with evidence backing it up? The Democrats, these demon rats, they simply just don't want to do anything to curb any kind of horrible allegations or horrible misuse of their fucking power and influence. We can't hold the Trumps accountable, but we should hold the Bidens accountable. Fuck, I hate these people. God damn, I hate these people. I understand partisanship, and I'll make the same fucking soy strawman voice if we're talking about the Democrats. If there's someone doing soy ass shit and saying soy ass shit there, yeah, I'll 100% make the soy voice at them too. I'll do it. Watch me. But the problem is that there are just simply, number one, fewer of them that boo-hoo and cry and bitch and moan, right? There are simply fewer of them. And on top of that, the Democrats actually have evidence against their political enemies, and the Republicans don't. They don't. They've tried for 5 years to find something on the Bidens, and they've pulled up zero evidence. There are so many allegations from people that eventually get found out to be literal fucking Russian assets or fucking Chinese assets from fucking Chinese arms dealers. But fuck me, there's not been a single bit of evidence to show that the Democrats are doing any, or like any Democratic politician has done anything improprietous that hasn't been investigated by the Democrats. By their own. What was the name of that guy that got caught? He got caught accepting basically bribery money from the Egyptian government. Fucking gold bars and shit. Fuck, I can't remember his name. But he was like our head diplomat from the Senate to Egypt. He got found with gold bars gifted to him from the leaders in Egypt. And he got fucked by our own party. When was the last time Republicans held anyone responsible without putting up a huge fucking like hissy bitch baby like hissy fit? George Santos? He barely, from what I remember, maybe there were 2 votes on it. Oh shit, I just said his name. George Santos. What was the 1 second. I just want to see what the margin was. Not supported by House GOP leaders, but nonetheless won the support of over 100 Republican lawmakers. So what was the vote?
George Santos. The House could vote again as soon as today after an ethics report found evidence that the Republican used campaign funds for a whole range of lavish personal expenses. That's a no-no. Santos now predicts he will, in fact, be kicked out of Congress, something that rarely happens. Nicole Killian spoke to him, because he's not staying silent, on Capitol Hill. Nicole, what did he say? Good morning.
Hey, good morning to you, Tony. Congressman George Santos, who is under federal indictment for multiple charges, insists he will not step down and will stand for this expulsion vote.
to set the record straight and put this in the record, I will not be resigning. And
This morning, a defiant Congressman, George Santos, says the House considers another expulsion vote for the third time this year.
I believe my colleagues, and a lot of them are saying that they have the vote.
That's right. They had 3 attempts. He survived the first 2 expulsion attempts after he lied about every single bit of his background. What was the margin? Or was it a secret vote so that they could actually like expel him because Republicans didn't want to be put on record? Super curious. 311 to 114. Thank you. Holy shit. If those 100 Republicans didn't go over, he would have stayed. Does it say what the previous attempts was or were? Hold on. This one had a link to another. Survived the 2 earlier expulsion attempts. Let's see. What were the previous unsuccessful attempts? It doesn't even say. Fuck. Okay. Doesn't matter. It's just like it's insane. The amount of like circling the wagons around people that like everybody can see is a complete and utter fucking disaster for your own party. But you gotta circle the wagons because I think Trump liked the guy. So
again, he doesn't even offer any reasons as to why what Jared Kushner did wasn't wrong. He just says it dogmatically and then says, well, Trump's been investigated a lot. Yeah, and again, there was an investigation into Kushner's sketchy deals under House Democrats, which you all killed when you all took the House majority. So again, they obviously know they don't have a winning argument here, that they lose on the substance. But I just love that. It's so funny to me that the shameless, naked hypocrisy and partisanship, the likes of which you simply do not see on the Democratic side. This is once again a uniquely Republican issue. Only time will tell if Jordan and Comer have the wherewithal and the sensibility to let this impeachment effort against President Biden die, or again, if they'll try to drag it out, you know, and just let it limp along in the.
They're going to let it limp along. They're going to try and do. Fuck. I need to have a different word or like a name for this strategy, because like the only way that I know how to describe it is like it's literally what Russia does, right? You're not trying to actually convince anyone necessarily, right? It's nice if you convince someone, but you're not necessarily trying to convince anyone that what you're saying is true, right? You're trying to create so much ambiguity. You're trying to create so much ambiguity that nobody knows what to believe anymore, and so they just like, they're like, you know, fuck it. You know, at this point, I'll just believe what my side says, right? I mean, that's what they do in Russia. Waiting for work? What do you mean waiting for work? You have a fuckload of food right here that needs to be taken. Destination doesn't have the capacity. Gotcha.
Vain hopes that they can weaponize it politically, although I think that will backfire. And again, hopefully, Democrats make them pay an extraordinary political price during the election. They should use this as a cudgel, say this is what Republicans have been focusing on. And then the last thing I'll say in terms of criticizing my beloved Democrats, they should have been louder about investigating Jared Kushner when they had the majority in 2020. During the first 2 years of President Biden's administration. They should have done to Jared Kushner and with Jared Kushner's investigation what Republicans are trying to do to Hunter Biden.
I mean, on one hand, I kind of agree. But on the other hand, like, I feel like President Ford had it somewhat correct when he gave the presidential pardon to to Nixon, right? Like, on one hand, yeah, I think you're probably right to do that. It heals the nation. It gives people some leeway to, do whatever they need to do. It's probably a good thing. But the crimes were significantly more minor, significantly lower than what Trump has done, right? And then you see what the Republicans are doing. And you just think, fuck. Why don't the Democrats do to the Republicans what the Republicans do to Democrats? Like, real shit. Why do they not do that? So what is your main criticism of the majority report? Too lazy to wait for the video? Did I pro-Hamas? No. Which majority report video? If you link it to me in the Discord, or you tell me the title of the or if you just want me to criticize the majority report in general, I'm not sure what you're asking me for.
And President Biden, because at least there's substance to what's going on with the Trumps and the Kushners as opposed to the Bidens. Once again, Democrats, unfortunately, are too serious. I understand wanting to engage on the substance, and they should, but then they should also engage in the pomp and the circumstance and the theater as well.
If it's the genocide one, we'll watch that one next for you guys.
Because perception is reality, and the American people need to be confronted again and again and again and again and again about the unparalleled corruption of the Trump and Kushner family. And so if and when Democrats retake the majority, they should investigate Donald Trump and the Kushners, and they should be loud about it. They should talk about it all the time, and they should basically use the Republicans' playbook against them, because the Republicans richly deserve it. Let me know what you think in the comments.
Okay, majority report. All right, not gonna lie, I totally pre-watched this one because I didn't know if I was gonna be able to stream today. But at the same time, I didn't really pay attention. So we'll watch this.
Area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Tim.
Yes.
Sure.
The recent one uploaded 20 hours ago. On my channel or on their channel? One second. Okay, this was uploaded yesterday, so that might be this one. Let's just... The failure of the majority report. Oh, it must be on my channel then. Sorry, I don't upload my videos. My editor does that for me. I got people to do that for me. What did I say? Resources at my display. I swear to God, like, I just talked about it. The problem that I have with the majority report and their coverage of genocide, which I guess we'll get into here in a second, my problem is that as someone that used to be a lefty, as someone that used to be like a socialist type lefty, not just, a liberal Democrat, it is incredibly fucking frustrating when people overstate their case. Right? It happens with Trump. I talked about that earlier today. The idea that Trump recently said that the what was it? Oh, there's going to be if I don't win, there's going to be a bloodbath, and then everyone jumped on that and started screeching, "Oh, he's talking about another January 6th." He was talking about the auto industry, and we should not lie about something in order to make a point when lying about that point actually hurts the cause and the position that we have, right? It actually actively damages our ability to criticize people in power, right? So, that being my position, when they're when they're talking about genocide, right? We all agree killing civilians is bad. It sucks. It's not something that a good person should want, right? Civilians shouldn't be targeted. However, to call what's going on in Gaza a genocide is fucking crazy. It is insane. Now, there could be some evidence that comes out that shows that there was some kind of that there was some sort of special intent there, that they wanted to wipe out as many Palestinian children as possible, but that evidence is not out there right now. And so to call it a genocide is fucking stupid. The ICJ went in, they had a whole court case about it recently, and they said, hey, you guys aren't committing a genocide. There's not evidence of that right now. Don't commit a genocide, please. But that was not an indictment on them that they are committing a genocide. So when we say that there's a genocide going on, and then all the available evidence that we have right now points to the exact opposite of that, it actually hurts our ability to communicate with people what the actual issue is, right? The things that we need to do for genocide, right, are, create an international coalition to go in there and fucking carpet bomb the genociding nation until they decide to stop doing a genocide. That is the correct course of action if there is a genocide happening. But we're not at that point with Israel. So why are we talking about genocide when the actual solutions to these problems are probably somewhere more akin to we should probably be pushing for a two-state solution. We should be pushing for Israel to have more, not grounded, what's the word I'm looking for? More specific war aims, right? What else? We should be heavily, and I think Biden is doing this right now, heavily pressuring Netanyahu and his government to allow more aid to enter into Gaza. Like, that seems like that should be uncontroversial, because these are things that you do when there is a humanitarian crisis. But in a genocide, you need to go in there and you need to fucking destroy whatever group of people is there trying to genocide the other group. That's what you do. There are definitely genocide aspects, but not Holocaust here. Well, I don't think that it has to be a Holocaust event in order to be a genocide, right? And I've never said that ever. It's really bad over there in Gaza right now. There are aspects of things that are genocidal, right? In that civilians of a particular ethnic group, religious, national, whatever group are being killed. Yes, all of these things are true, but the issue of genocide is it requires a special intent. You have to show, like, hey, yeah, we want to fucking kill every single one of these motherfuckers and we want to remove them off the face of the earth, right? Now, there is some rhetoric out there that would be considered genocidal if there was a genocide going on. But that's also the kind of rhetoric that you run into during wartime, right? You also see that kind of rhetoric on the Palestinian side. You actually probably see a lot more of it on the Palestinian side, given that the Hamas charter said that they want to eradicate all Jews, so personally I don't think it's right. Do you G? I don't know what you mean. Do I goon? No gooning allowed in this chat. But yeah, that's the position that I have on it. Now I watched this earlier. I don't remember exactly what the point was, because I was doing a million things. Does it require intent to be a genocide? Yes. Special intent. There's a specific Latin phrase for the legal term for it, but there's a special intent required for it to be considered a genocide.
All right, one more call. Calling from a 610 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Tim.
Yes.
It's your old buddy, Thames Darwin.
Thames Darwin. How's it going?
All right, how are you?
Good. Where are you calling from?
I am calling from Bucks County, Pennsylvania. It's the where you can see Mindy's in their natural habitat.
Oh, there you go.
I love Bucks County.
How is Mindy? We haven't heard from Mindy in a long time.
Yeah.
I moved up here like 6 months ago. I haven't bumped into her once.
I just don't like ethnic cleansing, and Israel being a Jewish state is important for Zionism, but I don't trust Palestinians being committed to peace either. Yeah, which is why, like, to start negotiations on a two-state solution that happens tomorrow is fucking ridiculous. There has to be good faith efforts shown on the Palestinian side. There has to be all sorts of shit that needs to happen on a pathway towards that. But starting that pathway is different than just like starting negotiations for it right now, right? Like starting, this is your territory, this is our territory, over and done. The Palestinians need a, fuck it. It sounds like a, ultra-lib loser thing to say, but, they need, a Martin Luther King or a Gandhi or a Nelson Mandela type figure, someone that is, if not totally peaceful. Nelson Mandela wasn't totally peaceful, right? But his form of violence was much more acceptable than attacking fucking civilians all the time, or trying to eradicate a specific kind of civilians, like Jews. So Nelson Mandela has that going for him. The Palestinians need someone who is committed to peace, who wants peace, who will preach peace to the Palestinian people, so that they stop thinking that, every 5 years doing a major fucking terrorist attack is going to get them the two-state solution that they want. That idea needs to be completely fucking squashed, because it's never going to happen. It's never, ever, ever going to happen until Israel just decides, yeah, we are going to do a genocide, and they either, one, commit the genocide and then take all the land and then just deal with the repercussions, or two, Israel starts doing a genocide, gets stopped from completing the genocide by everyone, and then it's imposed on both sides, and then both sides still fucking hate each other and go to war, a couple of years or decades later. Those are the two options if we don't try to aspire to peace. And that's just what has to happen. And the extreme people on either side are absolutely livid at the idea that anybody would suggest such a thing. But those people at the end of the day are doing what? They're just supporting people dying for a cause that will never get them the returns that they want. That's what they're doing.
All right. Well, you're not getting out enough.
Well, so as you might recall, I am a genocide expert. It turns out I am the person who corrected Kelly on the point that Michael's joke about oven-ready beta cucks was in fact funny.
Right. Okay,
despite being a joke about.
Okay. Before he starts getting into genocide, this is the last thing I'm going to respond to for a couple of minutes, just so we can hear their position. But do you trust Israel committing a Marshall-like plan to Palestine if they do remove Hamas? Yeah, of course, comparing Palestinians to Nazis or Japan is ridiculous. It's a completely different character to the fight that's happening. Israel, whatever Israel does, it's going to have to be backed up with guarantors from the Middle East for Palestine representing their interests. It's going to have to be backed up from for Israel and make sure that Israel's committed to it from the probably America or Western allied side. At the end of the day, that's all we can hope for, is that the world comes together, the Middle East comes together. Middle East says, hey, you know what? We're going to help Palestine for the first time fucking ever, actually help Palestine. We're going to go in, we're going to help them create a government that is actually going to meet the needs of its people. We're going to, make sure that they maintain, a peaceful stature or stance on things, et cetera, et cetera. And then the U.S. and Western allies are going to have to go in there and say, hey, they're doing their best to uphold their end of the bargain, and we're going to make sure that Israel is going to uphold their end of the bargain. It's going to take intense international pressure and a lot of political will that I'm hoping that, people in the West have,
I'd forgotten about that, but okay.
So
Here, and I'll open up this link, but we're going to watch this video first, okay? Thank you, Front Yard Shield. As soon as it loads, I will be able to pause it. Okay, one sec.
here's the thing: is that I'm not sure. Maybe since I've been on the phone, somebody's made this point, but you actually have to prove a genocide case in court. So it's mainly a legal distinction,
right?
Right. I mean, and so if you like the I would say that the operational example to use in this case is the 1995 Srebrenica massacre in Bosnia, which was ruled to be an act of genocide by the international. I can't remember. It was the ICT.
It was the ICJ, and it was Professor Francis Boyle, who we had on this program, represented them actually and won that case.
Right. So, on that basis, and because what we say about the Holocaust, for instance, is that it wasn't one event, right? It was literally hundreds of events taking place over the course of several years. Same thing with any genocide. I mean, and same thing with what's happening in Gaza right now. It's going to need to be proved on a case-by-case basis. I mean, so that you reach a point where there's a kind of tipping and you say, okay, well, we've reached whatever threshold is necessary to draw this conclusion. I would say, therefore, a couple of things. First of all, there's zero question that there's crimes against humanity and war crimes being committed. So that's just a given, I think, in the case of Gaza. More importantly,
I don't know if we should just automatically assume. I think that innocence until proven guilty is absolutely something that needs to happen probably at the international stage, right? Like the idea that we're going to just assume that Israel is going out there and committing war crimes willy-nilly. I don't think that that's necessarily true. There have been probably some war crimes committed on both sides of this conflict, because everyone in this conflict is a little bit fucking crazy. The Israeli side is a little bit fucking crazy. The Palestinian side, a little bit fucking wacko. All right. But people need to be more honest with that and just like say like, yeah, these guys are a little wacky. These guys are a little crazy. We don't endorse them. And I think that we'd be a step closer, maybe it would be just like a wee bit closer towards getting close to a agreement, or at least talks on the agreement.
To this issue of genocide, it's like point 2A and point 2B. Point 2A is that there will probably come a time, because there's been fairly consistent reporting about the finding of mass graves, that you're going to have summary executions found and things like that they're going to be made into a case.
That is something I don't think. Again, one reason why I am slightly more like sympathetic to Israel than I am to, well, I say slightly more. Let me reword that fucking statement for a second, okay? What is it that we are missing for Army 4? Sorry, if you're watching on Shorts, I'm playing a game as well. Drinks again? Really? Huh. I think the idea that we're going to assume that there's going to be mass graves with summary executions, like, it shows that there's an unbelievable amount of bias against Israel to the point where it's going to cloud your judgment so unbelievably hard that you're not going to be able to arrive at an actual solution to the problem. You don't have a solution to the problem. That's why you're saying it's genocide. And that's why you're saying, oh, well, I'm sure that eventually we're going to find this, heinous action. We're eventually going to find it. Like, you're saying we're eventually going to find it because they haven't found it. And in any of the conflicts that I'm aware of, there hasn't been evidence of what? Mass graves on the part of Israel, like mass graving fucking Palestinians. There haven't been summary executions where they just line them up and shoot them, like at least in modern history, as opposed, well, I say modern, like in the modern conflict in the past like 40 years. I don't think we're going to find Palestinians lined up and shot into a ditch like they were in the Holocaust or like they were in any other fucking genocide. You can't just assume that.
For genocide against the International Criminal Court. But all of that, and so I don't think that can be proved right now. All of that said, I think it was vitally important that South Africa...
Oh, 1 second. Let me respond to you guys real quick. I'm pessimistic and feel Hamas is betting on the rise of multipolarism to gain their power back. Third world multipolar despotism is inevitable. Hamas has zero hopes for getting a two-state solution through the means that they're going through. They have 0% chance. It's just going to be them attacking Israel and then Israel bulldozing them and then them rebuilding slightly and then them terrorist attacking Israel and then Israel bulldozing them. Like that's the cycle that we're in right now. I don't think that third world multipolar despotism is going to affect this in any way, shape, or form. And I also don't think it's inevitable. I mean, we'll see how this election goes. Yeah. Are you live on Shorts? I sure am live on Shorts. Short stacked goblin. And it doesn't sound, what you said there doesn't sound racist, but yeah, and feel free to chat. I just, I want to be able to hear like some of the thing and not spend my entire time arguing back and forth unless someone wants to jump in VC. I believe the bottom line is any legitimate nation state which has a population which majority supports a terror group which denies the right of that nation state to exist and launches rockets against it on the daily has a moral duty to disproportionately respond to that population to the extent their terrorists are gone. Hey, you know what? That's not I don't think that should be a controversial belief. But the caveat that you would have to make there is that Gaza and Palestine is not a nation state under any definition. Once they are, and that's why I support a two-state solution, right? Then the terrorist activity just turns into them launching random fucking attacks against Israel from another nation state, and it clears up so much of the moral ambiguity. So yeah, I agree with you. It's me, Sondsol, your favorite chatter and top mod Tornado Cane. How's it going? We're testing out going live on Shorts today for the first time. And it's slowing down my internet slightly, but it is working. Oh, by the way, if you're watching on YouTube or on YouTube Shorts, please like the stream. It helps me out more than you could ever imagine. Israel is an existing nation state which the Arab population, when polled, doesn't want peace with. I thought that hold on. Now you can post something that says contrary to this, but every piece of polling that I've seen is that the Arab population inside of Israel supports a two-state solution and does not support Hamas. So if there is something like that, then if there's something that goes against that, then please let me know. But the Arab population, like within Israel itself, unless you're counting like the West Bank population and Gaza as well, which I don't think you should do. Oh yeah, the population in Gaza and West Bank. Yeah, that's why I'm saying they need someone that is a hardcore proponent of peace, that advocates for peace, that pushes the Palestinian people to recognize that terrorist attacking the fucking state of Israel over and over and over is never going to get them what they want. Yeah. I can't like the short, but I'm hitting the heart icon as much as I can. Okay, that's why there were little hearts going up on my chat right there. Thank you.
used the term genocide in its suit against Israel because it lent urgency to the issue such that it got brought before the court immediately. And that's why I think, yes, it's a legal distinction, but at the same time, it is just, also a term that's commonly used, and it's a term about which historians can fairly disagree about sort of when that particular threshold is met. And I think that the International Criminal Court made, on the basis of the evidence from a legal standpoint, probably the right judgment without actually ruling on genocide because the physical evidence wasn't there to do so. But they also, very importantly, stipulated you have to be sure that you are preserving whatever evidence might be available to prove this later on. So
what are the criteria? Now, obviously, okay.
Yeah. Front yard shield. Yeah, I agree with that. I just thought you were talking about a different population of Arabs.
It's hard to say what constitutes the critical mass and when it sort of like crosses that threshold. But what are the criteria that make it elements that could add up to cross a threshold? Is it just
say that
crimes against humanity?
Intent and their scale, right? So there's intent and their scale. Intent, I think, is 100% clear. I mean, I don't think that it's even debatable that there's.
I know. How is this guy? He's not an expert on genocide. He's probably as educated on me, but he's also heavily biased against Israel. Because everything that he's saying here is like 100% true. I can't argue against it. What he's saying is true, except for like I'm sure we'll find evidence of a genocide eventually once the dust settles, right? Like that's an insane thing to say, an insane position to hold, right? I don't know how to say it. Srebrenica, well, however the fuck you say it in Serbia. Like, yeah, they lined those motherfuckers up, made them dig their own graves, and then shot them in the back of the head and let them fall into the grave, and then lined up the next crew to fall on top of them, right? Catch you later, Tornado Kane. But yeah, like that. There's a massive difference, and that's why I try to get. That's what I try to get across to people, like. Having looked into genocides and argued about genocides so much, right? Starting with the arguments that I had about trans genocide, arguing about the Holodomor, arguing about, arguing with Nazis about the Holocaust, right? Like, there is a certain character to genocidal acts that I'm just obviously not very good at putting into words. It is extremely calculated. They know what they're doing. There is no accident. They're intentionally trying to kill as many motherfuckers as they can. The in part of the genocide convention isn't because if you kill 5 black people, you're in part committing a genocide, so therefore it's a genocide. No, that's not how genocide works, right? You have to have a plan, have the ability to carry it out. It has to have scale. It has to have planning. It has to have all of these different characters to it. And you don't see that with the situation in Gaza and Israel right now. You just don't. It's not because Israel is squeaky clean in the way that they're operating. It's not because, a bunch of civilians have died. Those aren't the reasons why it's not a genocide. Those things are still bad, right? Like, I think that Israel's war aims are good, but they're not, what's the word I'm looking for here? The war aims are good, but they're not, distinct or granular enough. Does that make sense? Like, you have to have a certain level of specificity when you go in with war aims somewhere, right? And I don't feel like Israel has been all that forthcoming with explaining what their war aims are. I think that they could do way better.
There's an intent to eradicate in part or in whole the Palestinian people. I think that's been
now. You don't need to do it in whole.
Oh yeah. Also, yeah. What fucking Rebel Mango said here is fucking 10 out of 10, spot on. If we learn anything from Ukraine or even Syria, everyone has a cell phone. There's no way you can hide mass graves. It would get out. Gaza is not that big. People would know if there were fucking mass graves where they were lining up fucking Palestinians to shoot them and kill them. There are still a ton of international orgs in Gaza right now that are watchdogs against Israel. We've heard no reports of mass graves or people being executed Holocaust style because it's not fucking happening. Again, it doesn't have to be exactly like the Holocaust where it's on an industrial scale. But I think you also still have to show that they're having that same kind of intent. Anyways, let me please get through this video. Do you see the recent Lex Friedman Destiny? No, I haven't because it's 5 hours long. We watched a couple of clips today, but I just got back from apartment hunting in another city. Like, I'm moving cities here in a couple of months, so my time was very, very, very occupied while I was out of town. So I haven't caught up on any of the recent memes.
Well, is that correct?
Yeah.
They do not need to do it in whole. That's right. That's the whole point of Srebrenica. Is that
DC.
If you wipe out the male population in Srebrenica, that is sufficient to make a case for genocide, even though it's limited to a single town.
What of the defense of, like, it's impossible that this is genocide because the number of Palestinians has grown over whatever I've heard different sort of like
I've used that argument.
Time. What's the implications of that?
It doesn't matter. I mean, for one thing, I mean, the population of Jews grew. If you begin at 1900 and you end at 1965, the population of Jews grew over the course of that period, despite 60% of the Jews in the world being eradicated during that period as well. So,
I don't know if that's fucking true. Wait, hold on. I actually don't know the answer to that, but I'm pretty sure that's absolutely wrong. I thought that it cut the number of Jews in half. Isn't rent super expensive there? Yeah, it really is. It is very, 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 very expensive. You know, I didn't talk about this earlier, but we were looking at this one apartment and we're like, it's cheaper than the other ones. It's relatively nice. You know, I think that this is probably a really good place. And then we went on Reddit. And someone was like, hey, yeah, the reason the rent is super cheap there is because someone got beheaded. Someone got beheaded at this apartment complex. So we're deciding we're not going to move to that one. Why are you moving there? That's reasons I probably shouldn't talk about on stream. But gonna have to be job hunting and school hunting once I get there. So, has the global Jewish population finally rebounded from the Holocaust? Not exactly. What was this guy's claim that he just made?
Population of Jews grew. If you begin at 1900 and you end at 1965, the population of Jews grew over the course of that period, despite...
If you start at 1900... Let's say it's right here. That is like tantamount to fucking a Holocaust denial. What an unbelievable, fucking disgusting thing to say. No, that's not true. They did not grow in that time period. Unless you're saying start at the year 1900 and then compare the number at like 1958. Maybe then you could say, but no, they killed like what? A third of the amount of Jews that there were on the planet? Jesus Christ, what a scumfuck, like again, tantamount to Holocaust denial point. The point that people make about Gaza is that there is an ongoing genocide that has been ongoing since the inception of Israel against the Palestinian people, and especially against the Gazans. That is the claim that people are pushing back against when they say, what fucking genocide are you talking about? This ongoing genocide for the past fucking 80 years. What ongoing genocide? The population has increased year over year. And we looked up these stats before. Gaza population over time. What was it on the Worldometer website? Statista World Population Review. Huh. That's a smooth lineup if I've ever seen one, folks. That is a smooth lineup. Oh, for the people on the TikTok, or not TikTok, whatever it is, YouTube Shorts. This is the line. Smoothly going up. Compare that to the Holocaust graph. The Holocaust graph is really different than this one. These are two completely different graphs. I'm sorry, I can't click on any more links, Front Yard Shield. I have to end right after we finish with this.
60% of the Jews in the world being eradicated during that period as well. So, I mean, well, 30%, but, 90% of the Jews in Europe. So, I mean, so part of it is to say, well, there were still 3 million Jews left in Europe at the end of the war. So are you going to tell me that there wasn't a genocide? And the other thing is, populations recover, and the Palestinians are largely Muslim. They have larger families. It's a developing country as opposed to a fully developed one, so the birth rate is higher. You're just going to have a faster birth rate.
We should also say that, and again, this is a legal term. I can commit a crime.
Oh yeah, no, I see it off screen. Yeah, no, the Twitter has gone fucking buck wild with Nazi shit since Elon took over, and yet I still can't get unbanned.
Attempted murder, and it's still attempted murder even if I fail at the murder.
Absolutely. I mean, but to sort of return to the first point that I made, a case for genocide will be built on a case by case, on an incident by incident basis. Like if you look at the rulings from the International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda, it's individual cases presented over and over again, so that you get this kind of critical mass. I think that the physical evidence at the beginning of the ICTR was probably sufficient to make a case for genocide, and really they sort of focused on making cases to convict individual perpetrators. But in this case, because of the fog of war, because Israel is so.
What do I think of the argument in the tweet? Okay, we'll look at this. I don't think that this guy is going to say anything much more of value, if I'm completely honest. He sounds as educated as I am on genocide, but he doesn't seem to have the ability to look at it from an objective point of view. But what do I think of the argument in the tweet? I don't really think much of any Nazi argument, but sooner or later, I'm scared to read it out because we're on YouTube. When they do, the reaction of the American white man will make the Jews get on their knees and pray. Yeah. Oh, yeah, look at that. It's George Lincoln Rockwell, an actual American Nazi, literal American Nazi. What do I think of the argument in the tweet? I don't think anything of it. I think that it's just someone who hates Jews a whole lot. I mean, I've had arguments about the Jewish conspiracies multiple times over the course of my streaming career, and every time, without fail. Wait, hold on, not delete room. Every time, without fail, the people that I'm arguing against simply just do not have anything else except for I just don't like them very much. That is the beginning and end of their argument every single time. You press them on any specifics, that's where it comes around to. Okay, actually, we are going to try and finish this video.
We're firmly in control of territory right now. Finding physical evidence on the level that was found in Rwanda almost immediately is going to be difficult.
Well, that's
That
on
said,
purpose. Oh, sorry, go on.
No, but absolutely, that's on purpose. So, they're going to be bringing in, and obviously a big part of Israel knocking out journalists is to be able to knock out reliable witnesses. And, if physical evidence is eradicated, reliable witnesses are going to be the next evidentiary presentation before the tribunal.
Yep.
Yeah, and one, to also answer Sam's question from earlier, that argument's in such bad faith because this particular case brought by South Africa is contending that the genocide began post-October 7th. And so I don't know how you can make the population increase case in that instance because it's not applicable. Go on.
But Israel has been committing a slow motion ethnic cleansing since 1948.
I know.
It did it rapidly in 48, rapidly in 67.
Again, just point towards the graph that we just looked at with the the exponential graph showing that there has not been an ethnic cleansing going on in Gaza.
But it also has done it in slow motion, for the entire time.
I know, but to borrow your kind of emphasis here, this has to be proven in court, and for the there's discretion I think that's being used by South Africa's lawyers here to confine it to post October 7th to make the clearest case, especially when genocidal intent, as you say, was so clearly expressed by multiple members of the Netanyahu cabinet and himself. And then there's also just these clear bylines in Article 2 of the Genocide Convention where Israel has met. As I feel like I've covered before on the show, at minimum 4 out of 5 of the planks of Article 2.
Right, and basically the only genocide ever to meet the 5th plank was the Armenian genocide, because the Turks had this policy whereby if you saved an Armenian child and you raised him to speak Turkish and practice Islam, that the person would be spared. So that was part of what was.
Yes, and that's the difference between when people talk about forcibly removing children from their families to destroy the culture and shit. That's what they're talking about. But people will twist and turn themselves into a million different fucking pretzel shapes so that they can say that there's a genocide when they simply don't have the evidence to back that claim up.
I'm blanking on the guy's name that coined the term genocide, but that's the specific instance he was thinking of when he devised that definition. Was his transfer of children, yeah. One last point I wanted to make, by the way, was that it's pretty clear that Putin's goal in Ukraine, for lack of a better term, is, at least according to some definitions, genocidal. He might not be looking to eradicate physical Ukrainians, but he is certainly looking to eradicate the idea of Ukraine as a nation.
Cultural genocide,
a legalistic
possibly.
distinction that's beyond my sort of pay grade to really sort of work out. But it's clear when the dust settles on this, if there's a viable Ukrainian nation state still around, it's almost certainly going to be filing genocide charges on that basis. But there's an argument to be made against it as well, just like there's arguments to be made against virtually anything. I think the comparison of these two situations, other than, as Matt pointed out, why are so many people rushing to call what's happening in Ukraine genocide and so few rushing to call what's happening in Palestine genocide, I think is a worthwhile comparison. But other than that, there's not a lot that you can really say that makes these two particular cases comparable. The situation under which Russia invades Ukraine versus the situation in which Israel bombs Gaza is, they're just different. They have different stakes to take into account.
Yeah, and
but obviously the people are killed in both cases.
Right, exactly. And I think that I'm supportive of that case. I just think that from an urgency perspective, when we're communicating information, the genocide case is so clear in Gaza that I just don't feel hesitation about making that clear.
It's so clear, and yet the ICJ that you guys want to cite all the fucking time was not able to convict Israel on genocide.
No, and I don't either. I think I did a podcast a couple of days ago with a friend, and I said I don't think that they could make a case in the court right now for it, but I think probably when all this is over, they're going to find enough evidence to be able to make that case. I absolutely believe that. I think it would, given just the sheer kind of, I'll use the term chutzpah with which many of the people in the IDF are just parading their war crimes. I would be shocked if there weren't mass graves at this point.
Right. Appreciate the call.
No worries.
Thanks, Edward. That's good.
It's been a while, so I don't even remember what James Darwin's voice sounded like.
It's been a long.
All right. Well, only one forever war allowed, demon rats. All right. Anyways, it's been a fun stream. Nice test stream for the dual streaming to YouTube, streaming to YouTube and to Kick. How's it going, CDN? Sorry that we're jumping out right as you're jumping in. But we'll be streaming again tomorrow. If you haven't already and you're watching and this is your first time watching, all right, please join the Discord. All right. The Discord is where I will look at all of the content suggestions that you guys want me to go over. Look at this. Editor's giving me 3 segments to look at. We've got videos, articles that we can go over on stream. We do memes. We do mostly politics. I'm like one of the last political streamers of my era. Sad. Tomorrow, can we watch part of the Lex debate because it was interesting, the points raised? Yeah, if you have a timestamp, jump into the Discord, post it in content suggestions and give me the timestamp. I'll do that. Try to get the VOD out fast. When? I'll probably be streaming tomorrow. I'm hoping to start a little bit earlier than today because today we had to learn how to stream to the YouTube Shorts. Tomorrow should be faster, so probably start at 2 p.m. CST. All right. Also, you're job hunting for what reason? Because I'm moving to another city. And I haven't finished my degree yet. So I have to find a school and I have to find a job to, pay for rent and all that shit. So also, if you want to support me, there are donation links in the description. And to Tron, an update on the monetization, I had to send another message to the Google people to resend the letter that they are making me receive because they have not sent the letter or it just didn't arrive. So hopefully by the end of the week, I will have received that letter. Anyways, I love you guys very much. Is there anyone that we can raid on Kick? Let's see. Host channel. Oh, look, J-Stock is streaming. Here we go. I love you guys very much. I will catch you guys tomorrow.